Our dopamine. Oh, I got that fix. Oh.
Stream is starting, the Captain Coder at the helm. Bean water is ready. Today we will learn a lot. He loves the questions, he loves to sing. Join our Discord and follow him.
Our dopamine. Oh, I got that fix. Oh.
Bernice. Test one, test 1 2, test. Captain Coder here. All right, let's try that again. Here we go.
Stream is starting. The Captain Coder at the helm. Bean water is ready. Today we will learn a lot. He loves the questions, he loves to sing. Join our Discord and follow him.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you happen to be in the world. Captain Coder here on this beautiful Saturday. Good morning, afternoon, good evening, good day to you, sir. How are you doing on this beautiful day? Moon is welcome back to the stream. It's so wonderful to have you here. Thank you so much for the raid. Whew. We got a lot going on today. We got some great stuff happening. We got Captain Coder. We got Mooniz. We've got Mechanically Challenged. We got Tawny. We got a hat redeem. Oh, I didn't get my hats ready. Let's get two hats. Two hats already. Let's get some hats going. 3 hats. 1 hat. Uh-oh. 1 hat. 2 hat. Thank you for the hat redeems. Hatters assemble. That's right. Let's get 2 hats. 3 hats. Boom. Off to a good start. You know, when I made this hat redeem, I did not think that we would be getting so many hats so often, so quickly. The best nation is donation. We need points. We need points. It's actually my first time I use hat redeem. Corfless, thank you so much for the hat. Tani, thank you so much for the hat. Who was the other hat by? We also had Shiny Games. Thank you for the hat, Shiny. Folks, I'm so excited to be here on this beautiful Saturday. You know why? You know why? Mooniz, tell him why. Tell him why, Mooniz. Mooniz is joining me today for Mechanically Challenged. Folks, we got a new Mechanically Challenged. We got a lot of submissions. I should have shaved. I should have shaved. I was so excited I couldn't shave. My hair was just growing too fast. Mechanically Challenged, that's right. It's gonna be awesome, folks. We got so many submissions. I got way more submissions than I thought we would. We have, I think, 9 submissions, 10 submissions like that. It's a good amount of submissions. 2 of those beautiful people, 2 of you wonderful people out there are going to be winning. You're going to be winning $50 for submitting an awesome. Let's get some bean water. That's right. Water made with the essence of bean water. That's right, folks. I hope you're excited because today we are going to be talking about the new Mechanically Challenged. Let's get Mooniz in here. Let's see if we can do that real quick, actually. Mooniz, you want to join me on the Discord? Let's go into Mooniz on Discord. Why don't you join the live stream share channel? I don't know if this is actually better quality than if we just did a voice call. You'll be ready in 5-ish minutes. Okay, when you're ready, join that. But while we're waiting, do I need the blur on? All right, as you wish, Oryx, as you wish. All right, Oryx, since Oryx wants everything to be blurred. Blur. Welcome in, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful day. I'm having a beautiful life, having a beautiful week, having a beautiful year. Welcome aboard, Captain Coder, here on this beautiful day. We've got a new Mechanically Challenged for you. We're so excited. We have so many submissions that we have to review here. We've got some Godot 4 C# submissions. I don't even know. So we should have done a little bit of prep work here because I'm actually not entirely sure how to review everything in here. Right? I'm not a Godot expert. Godot expert? Is that a Godot expert? Let's make sure I have Godot downloaded. I'm pretty sure I do. Godosian. A Godosian. Yeah, I have it. I've used it a few times. No one submitted an Unreal submission. Kilted Ninja, welcome back to the stream. There's Godot. Okay, so I have a couple versions. Should I download? So I have 4.0, 4.1, 4.2. I should probably download the latest one. There's a 4.3, right? There's a Godoist. The Godoist. I like that. Godoist. We're going to probably be like half a gig. Yeah, so we made a change to the submission process. So in the submission process, you have to do like an export or something along those lines. What about Godons? Godot. So I need a different version if I'm doing GD script. Let's download latest. Yeah, so I need one for, I don't think I have the Godot engine here. I only have the .NET one. Yeah, so let's download these, one of each of these. Or are these the same file? Stable, mono, I see. So they're not. They're slightly different. I know we have some submissions for each one. So let's pull these over here. Boom. Let's get these unzipped. Also, someone who can... I'm curious, can someone tell me, someone who knows Godot and Unity, what's the package export process like for Godot? Oh yeah, it's like a standalone program. Godot is awesome. Godot is awesome for that reason. We've got Thelonuoif 619. Thelonuo. Welcome aboard, Thel New if 619, Thelo Uno. I'd like to welcome you to the stream today. Thank you for the follow, Thelm. Right click, select files, export package. So I know how to do it in Unity. In Godot, what is the way we do an export in Godot? Welcome to the stream, Thelm. Great to have you here. We are doing a mechanically challenged review today. Mechanically challenged review. Let me pin this message here so that we have that. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. But yeah, we're doing mechanically challenged. Last month's challenge was doing drop through platforms. This month's challenge is going to be doing slopes and loops and slopes and platforms, special platforms, slopes and loops. It's true. I'm not an affiliate. It's true. All right. So I hope you get. Oh, Mooniz, I can hear you. They can't hear you, but I can hear you. Let's see if we can get your. Let's get your voice in here. All right, they should be able to hear you now.
Hello, hello. How is everyone doing?
How is everybody? Muniz needs to know, chat, how we doing? Hello, hello. All right, let me adjust your volume here. Let's see if we can get your volume sounding all right. Your desktop audio. All right, and I may need to, I could probably add a audio source specifically for Discord, maybe. Possibly. Let's go into our sources. You guys get to watch how the sausage is made. What a weird term. Have you heard? Is that a thing? Is that an American term, how the sausage is made? Or is that a thing that people have heard? Muniz, have you ever heard that term? Or
I've never heard it. Well, I've heard it in English, but I haven't heard it in Swedish, no.
Okay, so like sausages are known to have like, they're like, a mystery how to make them. So like what's inside of a sausage? That's the question. So it's like how the sausage is made is like how the final product is put together. It's a weird saying. I've always thought it was weird. All right, let's do a Discord audio capture. Killzoy, you don't want to see behind the curtain. Why would you want to see behind the curtain? All right, let's add the Discord there. Let's see if that works. Let me turn off. All right, Mooniz, can you talk?
Hello, hello.
Okay, so now I have the Discord audio. I should be able to add a filter to this. And let me add in, let's see, is it still, what I want to do is want to be able to monitor this as well. All right. We have a filter on there. Do you know what? Let's put a compressor. That's usually a good one for voice. And I'm not sure if we need a gain. But why don't you try talking again? We'll see what the people think.
Hello, hello.
Can you guys hear Mooniz okay?
Can you still hear me?
Fresh Meat says yes.
Wonderful.
All right. Hopefully that will work. If you want any more filters on there, let me know, Mooniz. I know we had a little bit of the last time it was a little bit crunchy. I don't know what I would like to do. It'd be great if I could disable the so if I can make it so that I could just hear the put this on my monitor so I'd hear what they're hearing. I could put a delay on these things. That's kind of interesting. Discord audio, I'll make it so it goes to my monitor, so I should be able to hear that, but then it's going to get the desktop I'll hear you like in an echo. Can you try talking again, Muniz?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, you're in a weird echo for me. No one else hears the echo, but I hear the echo. There's probably a way where I can specify where I want the application sound to go. Yeah, I have the echo though. Like if I turn on my desktop audio, here, watch. Go ahead and talk now. Everyone can hear what I hear.
Hello, hello.
Now they can't though. All right, I don't know. Way too. Sorry, we're taking too much time on this probably. We got to get it right. We got to get it right. You shouldn't hear the echo now though. Echo, echo, echo. I should be able to tell Discord. Can I tell Discord? I can't remember how to do this. I want to tell Discord to go to. That's okay. That's okay. Here's what I'll do. If we can play around with it next time, we'll do something ahead of time to get it working perfectly. But people seem to say they can hear you. That's the most important part. Let me turn off the monitor for me. Nope, not that one. There we go. All right. I think we'll be okay for now. Okay. Well, Muniz, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today. Thank you so much for putting together the first mechanically challenge for us. And I think we're going to take turns. And next month, Muniz gets to pick the challenge. So just so you guys, this month I picked this challenge. So if it's terrible, blame me. It's probably too hard. Maybe not. I showed this to Muniz, and Muniz was like, "Slope platforms are going to be difficult." I think you said that. Maybe that's how I interpreted it.
I think the slopes are going to be kind of hard, and I think the loop itself is okay, but also including the wavy the wavy ground is going to be a challenge.
The wavy ground's gonna be a challenge. It's just so cool. The slope platforms. I know how I would do it, but I think it's like this one's a little bit more challenging because I don't know that there's something nice built into like Unity and Godot specifically for it, though, right? So I think that might be what makes it extra challenging.
Yeah,
because I have some ideas on how I might implement it. Well, so if you had to implement this right now, Muniz, without, I don't know how much you've thought about it, or if you've thought about it at all. Do you have a strategy that you might approach for doing the sloped platform?
So yes, I would probably use in Unity then a raycast down or a box cast, just and not having physics collision with the ground. I would just have a raycast that puts you in the correct position above it, and then just kind of move the player up and down based on the distance from the ground. Like, so you always follow the ground from at the exact same distance.
Gotcha. That's a good idea, because I know that we can have it's not too hard if you just have. So this one, it's like the ground is curved. The ground is curved. Fresh Meat, thank you for the hat redeem, by the way. And Traymix, welcome to the stream. But it's like the curved, right? So in Sonic, it doesn't have to be exactly curved. In Sonic, there's like a curve to it. In my mind, I was thinking that I would add in. So my initial thought to do this, and I haven't done this, would be to make it so that my collider is actually a circle, right? So rather than doing like a typical like box collider, I would do a circle collider on the base, but have it so that it doesn't necessarily circle collider and then to just check where I am so I can find it. But I like your idea of just using the raycast only, not having a collider, and then like manually putting it there. It's a good idea.
Yeah, I think using a collider, you're gonna get stuck. Like if you have momentum into the wall or a slope, you're going to slow down a bit because you don't really slide up it unless you have no friction. And
that's one of the things actually in Sonic. When you hit a slope, you actually do slow down. It's interesting. So I played a bunch of Sonic this week to get these screens. This is like the first level, but I played a little bit to like think about it. Sonic, when you're going up hills, you actually slow down. When you're going down hills, you actually speed up. So in Sonic, there's some physics to it. When you go around the loop, you actually slow down on the initial up, and then you speed up on the bottom part. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So it comes into like, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think the actual slopes, like the ramps, the quarter pipes, they go up and fly off. There you lose speed. But on the normal ground where it's just a tiny bit bumpy, do you lose speed on just the small bumps? Mm-hmm. Or do you keep the full speed there?
So in this first one here, if you look at the top image, you slow down on this slope here.
Yeah, but not on the smaller ones.
Oh, on these smaller ones on this? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I imagine you don't. I bet in Sonic, I bet you could look up and figure out how it's done. Yeah. In Sonic, I bet they have like something detecting on like how steep the slope is if you're having stuff applied to it or not. Yeah. Traymix asks, how y'all doing? We're doing wonderful, Traymix.
Challenge to do with colliders. That's yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be hard to do. My initial thought would be to make the character actually, rather than being like a box collider, make it a circle, and then the circle is like rotating. So to do the movement, you'd rotate the circle so you give the circle a lot of friction, and then rotate the circle rather than just like pushing forward. So then you have like this acceleration and deceleration. I was thinking about how I did my marble game. Thank you for the hat, Redeem.
Yeah,
let's get another hat on there, Kelton.
Yeah. Get all the hats.
Sorry, I keep on Muniz. Thank you for that. All right. All right, so that's the idea with this. So I want people to know on this one, you don't have to implement slopes
Our
and
dopamine.
loops.
Oh, I got that fix.
Thank you for the door opening,
Oh.
Oryx. You can implement slopes or, and maybe I should have made it slopes and or loops. If we read the description, it's actually, you only have to implement one or the other. You can implement both, but you don't actually have to implement both. I think I put that in here. Yeah. This month, you are challenged to write an implementation for sloped platforms, looping platforms, or both. You don't have to do all of them. All right, so you don't have to do both slopes and loops. If you think you just want to do a loop, go for it. If you want to do both the slopes and the loops, go for it. If you want to do just the slopes, I think the slopes are the harder one. Go for it. But we want to see your solutions. We want to get your solutions. Go for it in Godot, in Unity, in Unreal, Game Maker. What is it? Distron uses like Click Fusion. Use whatever tools you want to use. It doesn't have to be a specific engine. You can write your own little implementation from scratch if you want to. And then you're going to create a pull request into our GitHub. You're going to create a pull request into our GitHub. You're trying to create the minimal solution. You can use Tawny. If you can get it done with PowerPoint, go for it. That would be incredible. I want to see how you do it in PowerPoint. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see it. Make a game in PowerPoint. I want to see that. The main thing, we've changed the rules, not the rules, but the submission process just a little bit. Here are two minor changes, maybe major changes. Let's increase the font here. When you submit this, we want you, I don't know why I say everyone, for everyone's benefit, we're going to have you add a minimal version of your solution to the folder. So implement your solution. It doesn't have to, don't clone it first, implement your solution. Then you want to create a minimal file. So the smallest number of files, if it's a Unity project, probably just a Unity package. So export it as a Unity package. If you're in Godot, I think there's a way to export it there. And Unreal, same, export it as a package, some sort of module that you can import into a new Unity project so we don't have to check out any extra files. But give us the minimal version and then add a README that's going to tell us how to utilize your solution. How do we get your solution into it? Minimal in Unity is about 3 gigs. You can get it much smaller than that on a GitHub repository. Yeah. Smab, but that's what we want to avoid, right? Because it's gonna get beefy in here. It's gonna get beefy in here. Our goal would be to have everything be under. Your submission should be like under 10 megabytes is the goal. It may not always be possible because we don't know all the engines, but that's the idea. But welcome back, Smab. Great to see you. Moon, is anything you'd like to add to that?
No. I wanna get to it.
Yeah, let's get to it. Let's start looking at some of these solutions here. So we have, I think, 8 submissions. One of the submissions was my pull request. So we thought we had 9, but it turns out it's just that 9th one was me. I think. Tawny removed one of his. That's what it was. Okay. All right, let's look at this. Lurka with the hat. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Thank you so much, Lurka. There we go. IKEA hat just for you, Lurka. Just for you. Welcome back to the stream. That's exciting, Smab. I had a lot of fun playing with that. All right. We're going to focus here. So for anyone who's just joining us, mechanically challenged. Let's do another what here. Moonez and I are going to be reviewing. No, we're not going to be ruining submissions. We're going to be reviewing submissions for our last mechanically challenged, which was dropping through platforms. All right, so our last mechanically challenged, you needed to implement this mechanic here where your player can fall through the platform and then jump back up. No, we're not ruining submissions, Tawny. Tawny, don't read my mind, not what I say. What I say is not always the truth. All right, Moonitz, have you checked out any of these yet?
I have not. I was thinking if we could do it on stream, like we take one each, right. So we can prepare for
awesome.
4 of each.
That makes sense. So, all right. So, which ones? Let's see who is here. Who has submitted ones in the stream here? Let's do yours first, probably. People in the stream. So I know Tawny has one. CodeMonk did a submission. If you've done a submission, use !Q to get added in. So just do an !Q me. It'll add you to the queue up here, and then we can pull you out. in that order. I think it's probably Q, and then put your name after. Sorry, a Q followed by something. Tawny with the me. Yeah. No, it's not Q. It's the letter Q. Just the letter Q. Q. Tawny. There we go. It'd be like that. Sorry. All right, and then it'll add us in here. Yeah. It's normally Q stands for question, but we'll do a little bit extra today. There we go. See, it'll add you in here like this. No, Tawny, it's not your fault. This is totally my fault. Instructions unclear. All right, so we got Tawny, we got CodeMonk, and then let's see. CodeMonk, I believe, is a Godot submission as well. Godot 4.2. Tawny, I believe, is a Godot submission as well. I clicked the wrong thing. Tawny's submission. There we go. I believe it's Godot. Let's go look. GD script, Godot GD script. Let's see here. This one is a Godot GD script as well. All right, cool. Muniz, I'm going to get these loaded up on mine. Do you want to get some of, so I know an Immortal Kid did Unity, Tuber Tugger did Unity, Ghost in the Shell. Why don't you get some of the Unity ones loaded up, or at least started? I'm going to start off here with...
You'd show mine first, or should we take that one last?
Why don't you show yours? Let's see. What would be the best way to do this? Probably have... Yeah, why don't you show... Oh, you did a solution. Look, I'm slacking. I didn't do a solution. Let's show your solution, Muniz. That's a great idea.
Make a pull request for it. I just pushed it to my own branch.
Why don't we share? I'll have your screen. Why don't you do a screen share on the Discord?
Yeah, give me 1 second and I'll...
So Oryx, I think compared to me, everyone sounds like they just woke up. Oryx thinks she sounds like you may have just woken up. I think part of that is just I am so loud. But we can adjust. Maybe we need to adjust the audio.
So yeah, are we good?
Let me get you full screened here. There we go. You're full screen. All right. So we're looking at Muniz's screen here. Muniz, talk us through it.
Yeah, so I actually made 3 solutions, but I removed 2 of them because they were inferior to my current one. So what I did, I added these 2 platforms. They have a script on them called Drop-Through Platform. That it also have 2 box colliders. So we have 1 box collider for when the player lands on the platform, so we can know that we're colliding with it. But then we also have a trigger collider. So when we want to drop through the platform, we disable the physics collision between the player and the platform. And while we're falling through this, the trigger collider is still colliding with the player. So when we exit the trigger collider, we then enable the collision with the platform again.
Oh.
So you can stay in the platform as much as you want until your whole collision gets through it.
Okay, I like that. That's a nice simple solution.
So if I hold S and press space, then we drop through it. And I can't go through it this way. I haven't added that functionality, but so if I drop through it, I can jump again. And get
okay, so it doesn't become solid again until you get underneath it.
Exactly.
Once you exit it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that is how I solved it. The code is very simple. Do I have it up? I don't. The only thing the drop-through platform is doing is... I hope you can see this.
Yes.
Good. So all I'm doing is I have a drop-through method on the drop-through platform. And then I have on trigger exit. So I ignore the physics collision when I drop through, and on trigger exit, we enable collision again.
Okay.
We use ignore collision, but ignore is false, so we enable collision. And then it's up to you. Well, I added a player as well, so all I'm doing here is on a collision enter, I try to get the component, the drop through platform component. And when I have one, I just check that I'm holding down S and pressing space, and that we have a
Okay.
drop-through platform, and then it just handles itself.
Nice.
Kinda.
And so Oryx asked a question. What if there is something else? So like you have a collider and it disables the collider. What if there is like an enemy on top of it as well? Would the enemy fall through when you fall through it?
No, because the physics 2D ignore collision
Right.
only ignores the collision
You
between
don't actually
two
turn
colliders.
off. Yeah, you don't actually turn off that whole box. You just turn off what
No.
it is actually
Yeah,
colliding
it just
with.
forces the player and the platform to not collide.
Very nice.
So
And
it could be a solution that you can use for I don't support it currently, but if you had a list, you can stand on several platforms as well and drop through them at the same time. So it would be able to handle more of them. You just need to create a list instead of a single object.
yeah,
And
Awesome.
enemies could also use it. Yeah.
yeah. So you could have an AI where the enemy could drop through it if they wanted
Yeah.
to. Very cool. Very cool. If you wanted to make it, so I know you don't have this implemented, but I'm curious how you might approach the inverse. So you're under the platform. How do you jump up through it?
Jumping up through the platform, we can do that live. I hope.
We'll see.
There is a platform effector
Ah,
that you can use to set to tell it how it should behave.
okay. So you can create a one-way. There's a built-in component.
Exactly.
That's nice. Is there one of these for 3D as well? I see it platform effector 2D. I'm assuming there's a 3D version of it as well.
No, actually not.
Oh, interesting.
But I guess it says 2D just because it's
So common.
used by effector, and now we can see this
I
right here. So if
see.
we do the surface arc to be like this, it's the I think normal for the edges to collide. If the normals are pointing within this arc, then you will collide. So if I collide from the side now, they're not going out to the side, so I can go through it from the side, like this.
I see. So it's only when you're coming down within that that vector within that angle.
So
oh, that's cool. I've never used that.
The platform, the normal always points out from the line. Like the top line here points straight out. The normal on the side points straight to the right. So if that line is within this, then we are colliding with it. If it's not, then we're not colliding.
Very cool.
If we increase this to 180.
To make it so you can't come in from the sides.
Yeah, now we can't. Now we get stuck on the side.
Gotcha.
But you can go from above, from below, I mean.
Yeah, I've never used the platform effector. That's great. That's awesome that it's built in. I didn't even know this thing existed. I probably would have, I had this idea of how to do it from the bottom and doing sort of what the effector's doing, where it's like detecting which angle you're coming at it from. And so I would have this thing that says, okay, when I collide with this thing, can I figure out which like the velocity of my thing, right? So then basically say if I'm coming from underneath, and probably would have done some kind of, not necessarily the angle, the 180 degree here, but said, okay, well, if I'm coming and not necessarily straight up, but from underneath it, detect it that way. That's great. That's really cool that Unity provides this. I'm curious if Godot, I'd be surprised if Godot didn't have something like this as well.
They probably do.
Nice. So that's a pretty simple solution there to make it so you can come up from the bottom. I really like the simplicity.
Work like you could take this drop-through platform script and just add it to your game. It's not you just put it on the platform, you drag the collider in, and then you just add the on collision enter. I've made one way of using tags and also one using layers, so you could choose your own solution.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, really handy. Really handy. Warwick says really handful, but I think he meant really handy.
Yeah, that is my solution.
Great solution. Nice and simple. Just a few lines of code. And you'd essentially be able to just add this component to any platform that you wanted to have a drop through on. That's great.
Exactly.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for I didn't make a solution. I feel a little bit bad. I don't feel that bad because I've been super busy with my teaching this term, but I feel a little bit bad that I didn't make it. Very cool. All right. So, anything else you want to say about this solution, Muniz?
No, I think I said it all. I haven't added a README for it. I will do that later today.
Cool.
Just so people can see how to use it. And yeah.
All right, let's check out some people's submissions. All right, do you want to get? I'm gonna get one of these Godot ones loaded up. I think I'm gonna get Tawny's loaded up here. Do you want to get? While I'm doing that, I guess we can go in the order that they were submitted. Start with Any Mortal Kids solution.
Sure.
All right, get that loaded up in Unity. I'm gonna check out Tawny's. Get it loaded in here. All right, so see if I can figure out the best way to do this. Tawny's submission. So probably I'm going to go to I'm Tawny's here. I'm going to add this as a remote of this project. So let me get this, go into Git Muniz mechanically challenged. Open up this, and I'm going to add Tawny's as a remote source, and we'll take a look at it. We'll see how it is, and hopefully we'll get this merged in. We'll finish this pull request and get it merged in. All right, so add remote. All right, so we're going to add a remote from GitHub, and I think this is how I would do it. Git add remote. Tawny. Okay, and then I believe I can do a git checkout, and I can go to Tawny's main branch. Yeah, so we're going to check out. Oh, it did not like that. It didn't like that, which is interesting. Let's see what the git log is saying it's failing here. Branch name main already exists. Oh, it doesn't like that it's named main for some reason. Git checkout Tawny main. There we go. Let me do it that time. I had to do it from the... No, you're fine. It wasn't letting me do it from here. Oh, I might have been doing a weird checkout. And let me do it that way. All right. I have yours here now, Tawny. So Tawny's solution is here. We've got your scripts. You got your player GD scripts. Okay. Let's get this opened up in Godot. See how easy it is to do. I've never opened up someone else's project in Godot. We're going to find out. All right. So I should go into Tawny. Can you tell us, was this Godot 4.2? Godot stable 4.2. Let's try it. Let's see if I click this button, what happens. All right, let's add a project, import. Go to my D drive, my Git. Muniz. Mechanically challenged, Godot.
So many folders.
Tawny. All right, there we go. Open. Import and edit. Let's see what happens. And I'm going to share my screen on Discord, Muniz, just in case you want to not have a delay.
That would be great.
Yeah, let me do that. Give me just a second here. Screen. This screen. I think I'm live on there. If you should be able to see
Yes, I can see.
All right. Okay, here we are. Here we are. I think this loaded up. Redoni wants us to do a giveaway on one of the hats. We could have a hat. We need a hat giveaway. That's an interesting idea. All right, we got a cube. We got a square. I like it. We got Redoni. Welcome back to the stream. All right, there's a play button. There's a play button. Okay. A and D move left and right. Base jumps. All right, let's see. Let's test. Can I go through the platform? Up we go. Up we go. Very nice. Very simple. All right, can I jump from the side? I can. The cube feels a little, I don't know if this is just my computer. S to fall. Ooh, we can do the fall through as well. S to fall through. Boom. Tawny. Smooth controls there. The cube's doing something weird in this section. So I think that this, so one thing I think it might just be some weird lag on my computer. I don't know if that's coming through on the stream. The cube is like, feels kind of glitchy, but I'm not sure what exactly is causing that. It could just be something on my end.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any glitchiness on the stream.
Okay, it looks on my screen. It looks glitchy for some reason, but it could just be like a graphics. I know Godot has some issues when I stream. So whenever I play games that are made in Godot, sometimes they get really glitchy for me on stream, and I don't know what it is. I think it has to do with VSync, but I'm not 100% sure. Redoni's asking, do people wear hats like that in your city? Outside in your city? No, it's just me. That's not true. A lot of people in this area do wear them, but it's not everyone. I'd say probably like 5 to 10%. So in my mind, that feels like a lot. Okay, let's look at the code. Let's look at the code here. We have one script on our player. How do I increase the font? There it is. Increase the font size in Godot. All right, GD script solution. So this looks like it's gonna be something that we attach to our player. It's called the player script. We have a speed and a jump velocity. Okay, so this is like our player's movement speed. This seems okay. We get gravity here. Let's look at the physics process. Okay, so pretty short solution. Almost fits on one screen when I'm zoomed in like this. Okay. I don't know what move and slide does, but I'm assuming that's a built-in function. But let's look at this, the important part. Add gravity. So if we are not on a floor, then we get gravity added to us. So our Y increases. Okay, so if we're not on the floor, add gravity. All right. If we press jump and we is on a floor, I always like saying that. My students think it's funny to say, if we is on a floor, we can jump. So some kind of raycast going on here, I'm assuming. Then our Y velocity gets set to our jump, so an instantaneous jump here. We get the axis for moving left and right. We move our player left and right towards whichever direction we're going. If we're down, set collision mask to 2. Okay, so you're doing some kind of collision mask here. Fun of Corono, thank you for the hat and the bonus hat. Let's get 2 hats added here. We get 1 hat. We get 2 hats. Thank you so much, Fun of Corono. Oh, there's a README. Oh, awesome. Thank you for the help here. Let's go look at the README. That's a good idea. That's probably where we should have started. All right, let's pull that up. README. Drop-down platform for Godot 4. This tutorial walks you through the process of implementing drop-down platforms, a common feature in platformer games using Godot's built-in features and scripting. Very nice. Drop-down platforms are that exhibit 2 mechanics, falling down and ignoring collision. The player can fall through a panel when pressing the input keys. The platform allows the player to pass through it when jumping up from beneath. To follow along the tutorial, make sure you have Godot Engine installed in your system. If not, you can download it here. Very nice. Step 1, setting up the player. All right, so we have a character shape 2D, a character body 2D, a collision shape, and a sprite 2D for the visual. Okay, so this is coming with our collision 2D shape 2D here. All right, I've used the built-in script template that comes with Godot's character body with a few customizations, including a slightly increased jump velocity and custom input mappings. Okay. And then we have our input mappings here. Creating a simple level to navigate. So we build out a level that we can move around in. There's a level as a node. This is very nice. This is explaining this to me. So I haven't used Godot very much at all. So I really like the level here. So this is targeting, clearly this is something that's very clearly targeting someone like me who hasn't used it. I need to use Godot more so that we can, this is why I was like, I'm glad no one did Unreal, because I wouldn't even know how to evaluate Unreal. The level is a node called a world to act as the root of the scene, the rest of the environment as children. For the sake of simplicity, I've used a static body 2D node as a direct child of the world to behave as the ground. The ground has a collision shape and a sprite 2D. Let us also drop the player into the world. Okay, so we have our world, we have a ground, and then we have our player. So the ground actually has a sprite 2D and a collision shape as well. We can move our player around the level. So this is all sort of the built-in features so far. Now the drop-down platform, let's look at how we did. Step 1, implementing one-way collision. All right, for the drop-down platforms, I've used the same structure as the Godot, as the ground node, static body 2D with a collision shape and a sprite 2D as children. One-way collision in Godot is fairly straightforward. In the inspector panel on the collision 2D shape, you can toggle one-way collision. Nice, nice one-way collision. On or off one-way collision. Godot by default has one-way collisions, work from the bottom of the platform to the top. Okay, so if we turn this on, it makes it so it goes from the bottom to the top. All right, so it's like the effector, but simplified, right? So only for going from the bottom to the top. With this, we can observe player be able to pass through the platforms when jumping from beneath. Very nice. So with just this, we can't press S to fall through them. Okay. The collision layer, implementing falling down. This mechanic can be implemented in many different ways, but the most graceful approach would be to utilize Godot's collision layers and masks. Firstly, let us update the player collision property in the inspector and check the second layer mask. Okay, so we move our player object onto a mask here so that we're able to detect it separate from other things. This makes it so the player will also check for collision with any physics body 2D on the second collision layer. Okay, so we set the layers here. Now on our drop-down platform, let's update the collision property in the inspector and uncheck all mask layers, as we don't need to have a drop-down platform checking for collisions. Let us also uncheck the first layer and the second layer. This setup makes it such that the collision between the player and the drop-down platforms only occur in the second layer. Okay, so it's specifically checking for player and the collision and the platform. Player and the platform. So you'd be able to, this is sort of what we were talking about with Moon's illusion, using layers to separate, should my player be falling through, should the enemies falling through, what should fall through this thing, rather than turning the whole thing on or off, which is probably what I would have done initially. And then now that I'm thinking about it, this is nice, this layer mask here. Here's the logic. As the collision only happens in the second layer, to disable collisions between the player and the drop-down platforms, we can simply just disable the player's collision mask for that layer, making this approach very convenient and easy to implement. If the players in the player script, we can add the following lines of code. So it's 4 lines of code here. If we've pressed down, we turn off our mask, and then if we've let go of it, we turn it back on. Oh, that's interesting. Now, so my question would be, do we get stuck if I just tap it? All right, maybe I should keep reading, but now I'm curious if I just tap it, because as soon as I let go, isn't it going to turn that back on? So what if we have that's interesting. So I can start falling through, and this is probably related with the one-way direction. If I just tap it, I don't fall through immediately. I have to hit it I have to hold it for a second. My assumption is when I tap it, you'll notice there is a little bit, you can see me move through and then get pushed back up for a second. So I think if we had a thicker platform, this may not work that way. I'd be curious how that would work. It might just be from the top though. I'm assuming the one way is what makes that work so well. The collision's only 1 pixel. Thank you, CodeMuck. It will work. You tested it. Awesome. Glad to hear it. Practical, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you. We need, that's who we should bring on. Practical, maybe next time we do Mechanically Challenged, you're a Godot expert, or much closer to a Godot expert than me or Moon is, reviewing solutions for our Mechanically Challenged here in Godot, which is going to be a challenge for me, at least the Godot version. All right, so this is simple. Now, when we press the move down action, the player will no longer collide with the drop down platform as long as the key is held down. Okay, I should have read this. I came to the conclusion making this convenient for player as well. Below is another set of inputs that can be used for jumping down a platform. Okay. If we're pressing down, an input action, press jump, set collision mask to fall, handle drop down platforms. Hang on, I don't understand this. If we press down and jumping down and jump, hang on. Below is another set of inputs that can be used for jumping down a platform. We'll go with this first set of inputs for now. Then when we release, we turn it back on. I don't quite understand this part here. If we press down and jump. Oh, I see. Tawny, I understand now. This is if we're holding the down button and press jump. So if you don't want it to, you just press down to fall through. Got it. That makes sense. And then below is the final player script. Okay. Not bad at all. I like it. It's relatively simple. Reusability. Now that we've got the functionality, we can extract our drop-down platform into a reusable scene. To achieve this, right-click, branch scene. Say branch as scene. We pull this out. This will make it easier for constructing a level that you drag between the platforms. Okay. So one thing I would say here is putting this code in the player feels interesting. Put it directly into player controller. I personally and this may be just me not knowing much about how Godot works. I would want to pull this into something that I can attach separate from, not necessarily all built into the player controller, but I would want this to be on like the platform. It feels like it should be on the platform as a drop through platform itself. I understand the setup here to put it there. So this here, I feel like this should maybe be separated in some way. I'm not 100% sure, but this works. This is nice. Maybe just putting it in a separate skip that's like the drop down script and you attach that to a player. But this may just be me thinking in Unity versions. Simple enough that you can tinker with it, right? So this is the minimal version to get it working, and I love that. Great submission, Tawny. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Rai Style, thank you so much for the follow, Rai Style. I would like to thank you for following me now, Rai Style. Welcome to the stream, my friend. Yeah, thank you for being here. I also like that if I just hold down, so I can press up, and if I hold down, I just fall through them. So having land in between could be tricky, depending on the type of game you want to implement. You may want it to, if I'm just holding down, to fall through all of them, right? So making it so you have to re-tap the jump button may or may not be desirable. Ray or Raceworks, welcome to the stream, Ray. Great to have you here. Awesome solution. Tawny, thank you so much for submitting it. And thank you for producing such a superb README file. This is huge. How to get this set up and working for a beginner, because I was a little bit confused on exactly how it works. So thank you so much for providing this. This was awesome. I think this is good to go. I'm going to merge it in. Mooniz, how do you feel if I add this to our collection?
I feel like it's sounds good. Do it.
Yeah. I'm going to get this merged in. I liked it. All right. Let's come over here to our pull request. Tawny, great work. Awesome. Thanks for the submission. Absolutely. Merge pull request. Boom. Now it's part of the repository for 5EVER. For 5EVER. All right, Tawny, thank you so much. All right, Mooniz, you want to share you got one set up ready to go?
Yeah, I got one set up. I am an Immortal Kids one.
Very cool. Let me get the screen share going here.
Is an Immortal Kid here?
I don't think so. Is anyone here? I don't think an Immortal Kid is here. But that's okay. He doesn't come by that often. Immortal Kid is actually one of my in real life friends.
I'm having a little bit of trouble using his.
Is there a
solution?
README?
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's not detailed enough. The scene that he had in it has this setup, but it didn't have the collider, didn't have a faceable platform on
Our
it.
dopamine.
Some-
Oh, I got that fix. Whoa.
So I'm trying to
figure out.
out.
So, just for anyone who's submitting these, you already saw I was struggling to figure out Tawny's solution. And thank you, Tawny, so much for the README. Mooniz is struggling to figure out how any mortal kids work. So, making sure the person who looks at it can figure out how it works is a really important part.
So we have the face through platform uses the platform effect of 2D. That part I got to work, but the phasing through I don't. It's talking about a trigger collider sits at the bottom to detect the player is completely phased through, but I'm not getting the first part of it. I don't know where I should put the trigger collider. I guess I should just put it at the bottom, but I can't get the phasing to work. And I've tried a few things. I've looked at the code. I've been trying to. Could it be? Yeah, it's maybe this needs to be player and this one needs to be.
So it didn't come just like with the scene ready to go when you just load it in and you run it doesn't work.
No,
it's disappointing.
It didn't. Okay. Yeah, I wish that it worked that way. So I'm not
that's
sure
how it should be. In my mind. So I think the best thing to do for this particular submission then is to add in a comment saying, it was unclear how to get this working. Could you submit a README file walking us through how to get this working?
Yeah. And
quite the jump.
Preferably add a scene that has it working.
Yeah.
Because it felt like it was half done.
Gotcha.
Like the objects were here, the scripts were on the character controller and everything, but the faceable platform didn't work. So yeah. So let's add a comment. And then I guess we head on to the new one. To the next one.
Yeah, let's add in a comment there. Sec Ross, thank you so much for the raid. Sec Ross, how are you? Tell us all about your stream today. Sec Ross, how was your stream? Thank you so much for the raid. Mooniz, I'm going to let you write that comment. I got a hat redeem I got to get on here. I got a hat redeem. Welcome in, Sec Ross. Let's get another hat added to the stack. Thank you so much for the hat. Boom. It's a little corny in here now. For anyone who's just joining us, we are going over solutions to Mechanically Challenged, which is a monthly challenge hosted by Mooniz and myself. You can find all the details at mechanicallychallenged.org. Last month's challenge was to implement drop-through platforms. Can you write a library? Can you write a module for making it so your player character, when you hold the down button and press jump or just press down, you fall through the platforms and then you can jump back up afterwards. So we have 8 submissions. We've gone over 2 of them. Tawny, excellent solution. Any mortal kid, we can't quite figure out how yours works. So hopefully we can get some feedback from you and we can get that merged in. But the idea here is to create a repository full of examples of how to do these things in a variety of engines, whether that's Unity, Unreal, Godot, GameMaker, ClickTeam Fusion, whatever tools you use. We want to see your solutions so that we can share them and get people, when someone asks, how do I do this thing, say, hey, go look at this. We have this challenge. This next month, we have a new challenge, Slopes and Loops. I hope people here will give it a shot. And additionally, 2 prizes are awarded, one by me, one by Mooniz, for the most educational mechanics that we decide. $50 to each of those people, just for learning something new, submitting and sharing with the community. So go check it out. Mooniz, thank you so much for reviewing that one. All right, I am going to get the next Godot one going here. Go ahead and leave a comment for any mortal kid. And then I think we're going to do, let me close this here. Tawny, great submission, by the way. Let's pull this up. We're going to take a look at Code Monks next. I'm going to get Code Monks and then, Mooniz, why don't you load up Sigian? Decuric Sigian has one. I think it's both 2D and 3D solution. I think that's Ghost in the Shell. Let's double check.
Yep, I'm fetching that one.
Awesome. All right, let's get Code Monks loaded up here. Boom. All right, get check out main, get pull. All right. CodeMonk, thank you so much for your submission. Gotta take a look at it here. CodeMonk submission. Godot project Godot. We're gonna add in this. Get add remote. Boom. We're gonna call this code. CodeMonk with a 3. There we go. Get check out CodeMonk. Here we go. All right, CodeMonk, we got yours loaded up here. Let's have a little look-see at it here. All right, so CodeMonk solution here. Also a Godot solution. I believe yours is in GDScript as well. Awesome. Okay, so let's get Godot loaded up here. Like Sonic loops, that's right, Distron. So loops like in Sonic and sloped platforms that are not just flat, like Sonic as well. There's a couple picture examples on the site that you can look at. All right, let's go and import this. I'll move this over here. But yeah, I would love this one. I'd love to see some solutions by you because you use Click Team Fusion. Is that correct? I'd love to see some solutions in other places. You have a README as well. Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Let's get this open, and then I will look at the README rather than just trying to figure it out from scratch. All right, Godot. Fortune's favorite. Welcome back to the stream. Yeah, so it's the next month. I picked so blame me if May's challenge is too hard. Blame me. Muniz picked the first challenge. I picked this. I think we kind of picked the first challenge together. Muniz will pick the one after that. Muniz will pick the one for June. Hopefully won't be. Look, I like insane things. Look how fun this looks.
I don't think it's too hard. I think all the mechanics in games are usually around this level of complexity. I think it's a really good one.
Gotcha.
Okay,
I'm glad.
Implement this, you can probably figure out how to implement most things.
Very cool. Yeah. So it's from a level of difficulty. I think it's harder than the last one.
Yes. A lot harder.
Okay. All right. Let's take a look at our README file. CodeMonk, thank you so much for the README. Doodle-doo. Gonna read a README. Mechanics Challenge. This project provides a custom drop-through platform node, which can be used to create platforms that allow objects to pass through them when certain conditions are met. This is useful for creating games with mechanics such as moving between floors of a building or passing through floors in a dungeon. To use the drop-down platforms in your own project, you should follow the following steps. Copy the file drop-through platform into your project directory. Copy the drop-through platform into your project or drag and drop the file into the resources window inside of the Godot editor. After that, a new node drop-through platform should be available to be used inside your scenes. Okay, so it's like adding a little module there. Add a drop-through platform in your scene. You can add a new platform by adding a new child node of the type drop-through platform inside of your scene. This node works like a regular static body 2D in Godot. You need to add a collision shape to define its shape and a sprite 2D or any other texture node you want for your platform. So what it looks like and how the collision works. Alternatively, you can import into your scene the provided scene platform.tscn that contains all of the necessary nodes. Trigger the drop-through mechanic. To trigger the drop-through mechanic during the game, you need to call the drop-through method available on the drop-through platform. Object from your character controller. Okay, so we're going to trigger this from our character controller. Thank you for the doy, Tuber Tugger. Welcome back, Lance. Great to see you. So let's look at this here. So try drop-through. All right, so I'm seeing that we have a thing called drop-through and then try drop-through. I'm not sure if that's a typo. Oh, but then there's platform.drop-through. Okay. Oh, this would be in our player controller. So if we're on a floor and the input action is jump, and the input action. So if we're crouching and then we press jump, then we try drop through. Okay, then we say, okay, get the last slide collision. So we get the collider that we're on. We check, does it have the method drop through? And if it does, then we drop through. Okay, so this is nice. We put the drop through onto, this is sort of, my criticism of Tani's was, what if we want to put it on platforms that necessarily don't have that? So we put it on there. Okay, so in this example, I like that. So we can put this on anything, and then it's actually just platform.drop through to fall through it. So you could potentially, I think, put this on non-player characters as well to have them fall through, drop down. So maybe an AI would be able to jump through it. The platform manages the mechanic. Gotcha. On this example, the line is if this makes sure the player is laying on the floor and presses jump and crouch or press at the same time. You can adjust the conditions to your own requirements for triggering the drop through mechanic. Like it. After that, it calls the method try drop through. This method obtains a reference of the surface on which the player is lying on and checks if it is of the type the drop through platform. If it is a valid platform, it calls the method drop through, triggering the mechanic. Okay. Advanced uses. Reaction time. The drop through platform allows setting the reactivation time of the platform. The default is 0.5 seconds. This value can be adjusted through the Godot inspector, or you can try set inside the ready method on the platform. So this will, I'm assuming it's going to turn off the platform, and then this will let it turn back on. The drop through platform node emits two signals: object, pass through, and reactivated. When the mechanic is triggered, this signals can be used to further configure the behavior or appearance of the platform, or to perform any other action inside your scene. The following example shows how to use the signals for changing the platform color when the player drops through the platform. Okay. On pass through, platform.color, on reactivate, platform color. Okay, so we can have these sort of callback functions. Callback functions, nice. Example scene. An example scene can be found in the examples directory. This scene contains some drop through platform and a player with a player script, player GD implementing the drop through mechanic. Also contains a platform GD. Ooh, you also have a live demo. I like this live demo on itch. Tani, did you have something like this? I didn't pay attention whether or not you did. I really like this. I really like this. Yeah, Tuber Tugger, I'm super excited about how many people. I was expecting maybe one or two. The fact that we got 8 submission blows my mind. Blows my mind. All right. Let's go ahead and run this project. Oh, no problem. All right. Can I make the window bigger? Perfect. Okay. WASD or up. Jump, space to jump. Up also jumps. Nice. Down and jump to go through. All right. So I can come through that way. Can fall through. I like that it changed. Like you can have it change there for you. Okay. So one difference here between Tani's is I have to hold down and jump. This is what I was talking about. So in some games, you might want to make it so that if you are holding down, you just fall all the way through, but you might want to be able to land on each one. This is really nice. Simple solution here. You know, one of the things here is, does it work? Does it work? And I can jump from the side like this. All right. Very nice. Is player changing the platform state? So one thing I would ask CodeMonk, since you're here, is if I were to put something else on this platform, when I fall through it, does that thing fall through as well? Right. So that is one of the little tricky bits here, is if I were to put something there on the platform next to it, would it also fall through? Let's go look at our collision shape here. Player, floor, collision shape. So you're not, it doesn't seem like you're using, you can configure the other objects to use the same. Okay, so it's based on collision layer. That makes sense. Okay, nice. Are you using the collision shape? See, you're not using the one way. All right, so it might be a little bit hard to see here. The font's kind of small, but let me turn the chat off. You're not using one-way collision, which is interesting. Or maybe you are one-way collision marker like that, or do I have the, I have the wrong thing selected. Never mind. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong thing. So the floor does. All right, collision, layer, input. Yeah, I was on the wrong node. You were correct. I was on the wrong node. I was like, oh, this is interesting. How does that work? Okay, gotcha. So on the platform, I believe that's this here. All right, platform itself, we have the different collision layers. How come the ground doesn't use it? Yeah. Do I see it here? So this is me again being not super used. Open the platform. Oh, it's a whole scene. It's a whole scene. Gotcha. So you can. I forget about that. So like nodes and scenes are sort of interchangeable. So this would be like a prefab. This would be like a prefab. Gotcha. So it is using the one way here. Thank you for that. Yeah, this is me not being super familiar with Godot. I got to spend some more. Maybe this summer we'll spend some more time in Godot. Maybe spend some time in Unreal as well. There we go. There it is. So this is like a prefab. If we wanted to add this to a different shape here, we could do that. All right, gotcha. So the platform drop through. I see. So you have this. This is the object. This is the new node type that you can add to scenes, and then it's subclassed in this way. The platform can be used in a project. Yeah, I like that a lot. So I do have a question, and this is just a great solution. Great, nice. Feels like a simple solution. Me not knowing much about Godot either. So I have a question. If I wanted to do, so in Unity, I can export part of a package. So I could come down here. Let's see if I can do that down here. Export. Is there an export option? So I can build like these packages that can be imported in other places. Does Godot have something similar to this idea of an export? I'm just curious. I'm trying to understand because we're trying to reduce the size of our project submissions, right? So for Unity, I would just say to right click and you select export. You only need to copy the drop. Okay, so if we add this into a project anywhere, it should work. So if I made it a new project, I put this in there like that, and then pulled the sample scene in. Oryx, I haven't watched his new Godot video, but I have seen that he has returned. That adds the custom node. Yes. Okay, cool. Let me ask you a question. All right, so CodeMonk, let's say we have like a package that has 5 scripts. Is there a way to package those scripts together to be added in? So like I could select multiple things like this to add in, or do I have to drag them all in separately? I'm just wondering how their package system works. Has add-ons. Okay, so they're called add-ons in okay. Tawny says let's export. Oh, this is actually like doing the build, I believe. Asset library. I'm just curious. I want to know more about Godot. There was an asset library. I need to look into it more on my own, right, to understand it a little bit better. Next to 2D, 3D, asset lib. Okay, so you could do it this way. Gotcha. And you could import probably from a local file. Okay, and then you assets as a zip file. Very cool. Gotcha, Tawny. Thank you so much for that. I need to look into it. It's called asset lib. This is not Brackeys. This is CodeMonk's submission to Mechanically Challenged. CodeMonk, great solution. I like the way it works. Your README is pretty straight to follow. We would have to see, can I get this to work in like my own project? But your sample scene looks nice, demonstrates what it does. Your code is really simple. I want to go look at I don't know that I looked at the code here for our platform. Let's look at our platform code. Okay. Oh, look how simple this is too. Connect, pass through, on pass through, on reactivate. Okay, that's really quite simple. And then our player, we just have to tell it to try drop through. So we'd have to add this drop through to our player or something attached to the player. And then this is that little spot there. So drop through says, find this thing, set the collision layer to false. All right, so it's using a collision layer. And then we turn it back on when we reactivate. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. 2 functions. a little bit of so we can access this reactivation time. It's exported. We have a signal that we can connect to these signals. So if you're familiar with events, signals are like events. They're essentially events. You can listen to them when they fire, have things happen. Great solution. I like it. I like it a lot. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, CodeMonk. Very nicely done. Mooniz, do you have any comments?
No, it's I think you covered it pretty well. Yeah.
Okay, let's get this merged in. Add this to our
Yeah.
repository of solutions. Nice work. Merge it in. Boom. CodeMonk, thank you so much for your submission. All right, Mooniz, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, let me get your screen up here. If I can figure out how computers work. Where did Discord go? There it is. I know how computers work.
Or
All right, Mooniz,
Tuber
you're up.
Tiger. Yeah, let's go. So this is, who was this? Ghost in the Shell?
Yeah, I
Who
believe
was
this
that?
is Decuric Sigian's solution.
Sigen. Okay, yeah. So this is actually a great setup. We have two examples, sample scenes here, one for 2D and one for 3D. So I'm going to start with the 3D scene. You actually have two players you can move. Here you have normal platforms. They can go, well, one-way platforms. They can go through and drop down. These green ones are solid platforms, and then you have, yeah, a little bit of everything. This
wow.
gray one, this one is a solid platform.
So you can't come from bottom.
Yeah, but you can drop through it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we actually have a button to go to the 2D one. So you can just switch to the 2D version. So this is really good for testing it. So we actually have two
to make sure that it doesn't drop both of them. I like that.
Yeah. So this is a very nice solution. I haven't found any issues with it, really. Just works.
So one thing I will say, yeah, I love about this submission is we have a 2D and a 3D, and it's just not just the fall through platforms, but showing how you might integrate it. So you have fall through platforms, you have platforms that you can't fall through, and also showing it with multiple collisions, like multiple colliders.
Yep. So this is a really nice. I feel like your solution is rocket science. No, I was actually looking through the code, and I think we have it's pretty clean, really. Let's get the README up so we can actually look through it. So it says that it works with any player and platform colliders, and also with multiple objects, which is great. Just add the drop through platform 2D script on your player, and then you add a new layer for your platforms, and then you just call start drop and stop drop. And the solution itself was something that I didn't think about or think to do. So let's go to the 2D one. It's the simpler of the two. So the only thing we're doing here is in fixed update, when we decide to start drop, it triggers this fixed update where we just do an overlap. So we do an overlap of the current collider. If anything is overlapping us, we add that to a list. And after we've added that to a list, we just ignore them. Similar to my solution, we just ignore the overlapping colliders. And then we just loop through them and see, every physics frame we check overlap again and see if they are still overlapping. And if they aren't, we remove them and stop ignoring the collision. So this is a very simple solution, and I think it would be very easy to implement in your own game, as the only thing you need to do really is add a script to your platform, and on your Play controller, all you need to do is call this drop through platform start drop when you want to do that, and the platform will
Very
kind of
nice.
handle it. Yeah. So yeah, this is a clean solution. It's a simple solution, and
it uses the same code for both 2D and 3D.
no, they are a little bit different. The 3D one is a bit more complex, but it's kind of the same. Well, no, it's the same with overlap and everything, but it does a lot of other things like adding a trigger and for the dropping through. I think you should be able to use pretty much the same solution for 2D and 3D. I don't see why you wouldn't. The only thing that would change is the type of collider. Instead of a collider, you do a collider 2D.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's a very simple solution, and was very easy to use.
That's awesome. Sidian, nice work.
Yeah.
Nice work. Oh my
I feel like
goodness,
we
I'm getting a
should
hat. I'm
merge
getting
this
attacked
one.
with hats.
I can actually hear when Captain
Oh,
gets a
yeah?
hat now. Yeah. So I'm just listening to the audio. But yeah, I think this solution is clean, simple, and it just works.
People want a Muniz hat redeem.
I only have like one hat.
Great submission.
Not
I
even a
love
hat.
that.
Yeah. So I think well, do you have anything to add?
I'm so just that I love that there's a 2D solution. I'm really happy that we got a 3D solution. So I'm really happy with the
Yeah.
3D solution. I love the scene is set up not just showing like the platforms and how to fall through them, but showing like, hey, you probably want to have drop through platforms, but also platforms that you can't drop through, platforms that are solid
Yeah.
but you can't jump up through, and then multiple characters, right? Enemies perhaps, or players showing that, hey, this thing works with not everything's going to fall through. Rather than saying, oh yeah, and it won't do that, you can actually demonstrate it in the scene, saying, hey, if I put this thing here, when the player falls through, only the player will fall through, not everything that's on it. So I really, really like this solution. Tons of great things happening here. Code seems pretty simple as well. And the ability to modularize it, reuse this in a couple different spots is awesome. Thank you for the bonus hat, Lance. Get another hat on here. All right. I think we can merge this one in.
Yeah, I'm going to merge it.
Perfect. Yeah, awesome way to do 3D. Let's get this merged in. All right, we need to take a quick break. My dog is whining at me. So we have to take a quick break here. Muniz will get that merged in for us. When we come back, Fortune's favorite, you made a submission. We're going to look at yours next. Godot 4.3. So I'm going to have to download Godot 4.3 to take a look at this one. We're going to look at yours next when we get back from the break. While we're gone, take a look at Mechanically Challenged, our challenge for next month. Special slopes and loops. Implement one, the other, or both. But we'll be right back. I got to take a quick break. I got to get myself a little bit more bean water. I get myself hydrated, and my dog is whining at me, wants out of the room. So we'll be back. Don't go anywhere. Captain Code will return with Muniz. Okay, Fortune favorite. We'll get it. Do it in that version then. All right, folks, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Our dopamine. Oh, I got that fix. Oh.
All right, everybody. Captain's back. We're here with Mooniz. If you're just joining us, we are looking at solutions for Mechanically Challenged. Last month's Mechanically Challenged was implement dropping through platforms. Awesome submissions. Awesome submissions. We have 8 submissions. We're going through those. We have a few left. If you want to get in on next month, feel free to review Slopes and Loops. You could win. Just for creating this, learning something, sharing with the community, you could win a prize for contributing. We're going to take a look here at Fortune's favorite submission. I'm going to get this added into my project here. Okay, let me add this as a remote option here. Let me check out main, get pull, and I think I saw a few people coming in to the stream here while I was on my break. Great to see you again, Popcorn. Mama, great to see you, and Blindfish, welcome back to the stream. Wonderful to have you fabulous people here. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well. Tuber Tugger has a question for us. What is Tuber Tugger's question? You know what might be a fun stream idea? What if we found an open source project on GitHub to shine a light on and contribute as a community, possibly Unity or other game? I think that would be awesome. There's so many things I want to do, so little time, so little time. I mean, so the answer is yes. We're gonna figure something like that out. Let's add a remote here. Add remote. Fortune's favorite. This Fortune. Fortune's favorite. Now we're gonna check that out. Check out Fortune's favorite main. All right, so we have Fortune's favorite. I think here. What's going on? Why don't I say? Oh, Godot 4.3. Gotcha. Here it is. Here it is. Let's get this loaded in. Godot project like this. You plan to do a tutorial on setting menu and controls mapping, specifically in Unity. Maybe that could be a mechanic. I mean, I don't know that counts as a mechanic, but that might be an interesting thing to have. So I know a lot of people would probably like that. Oryx, thank you for the compliment on the haircut. Thank you for the compliment on the haircut. All right, let's close this. Let's open up this project here. I probably need to figure out a better way to do this. My poor dog didn't want to be out of the room. She's over there sighing. All right, let's import. Let me blur my screen here just for a second. Go to our D. Oh no, Tuber Tugger's on to me. Tuber Tugger's on to me. No comment. No comment. Let's make sure, is this the... There we go. Open this project. Import. Here we go. Open anyway. Let's see what it says here if I try and open this with 4.2 instead of 4.3. We'll see if it gets upset with us. All right, let's check for a README file as well. Fortune favorite. Okay, we have a README file. Awesome. Let's read through it. Platform pass-through in Godot 4.3 Dev Build 5. With Godot, you can make a platform pass-through mechanic in multiple ways. In this document, I will show 2 ways one could implement such a mechanic. The first, I feel, is the traditional way developers have done the drop-down mechanic in the past. However, have made a slight adjustment in my second method that allows the player more freedom in level exploration. Each method has their own benefits, and the developer should choose the method that fits the type of game they're trying to make. I love this little intro here. Great work. Saying, hey, here's one way you can do it, here's another way. Choose which one's going to work best for your project. Platform setup. No matter which method you choose in the end, the platform to be passable, the nodes must be set up with the following. All right, so we have you have a static collision shape and a color rect, so this is how we render it. The collision shape for the platform and player, in this example, we use both layers and masks, value 1 and 2. If you choose to go with method 1, then you need to have layer and mask value 2 enabled. Layer and mask value 2 is specific to method 2 and is my preferred technique. Okay, so a little bit of setup here to get the layers and masks working properly. Specifically for the platforms, make sure that one-way collision is checked. All right, one-way collision margin is set to 1 pixel. Okay, so that's important here. One-way collision, and you set how big that margin is. Because we've seen this in the other Godot entries as well. Player setup. The player will need to be set up in a similar way so that your character can collide with the platforms. For this demonstration, both layer and mask values 1 and 2 are enabled. We will also use the pre-generated character body 2D script that is generated in Godot for basic movement and jumping, so allow us to focus just on the platform passer mechanic. I love that too. So I was curious if I think we only received Godot and Unity submissions. I was curious if we'd receive any non-engine submissions, in which case there's a bunch of extra stuff we have to keep in mind as we go through as well. Okay, method 1. For those just interested in copy and pasting the code, here you go. Okay, so if the action is down, so this is like the jump button, and they were pressing crouch. Okay, so for pressing crouch and we press jump, or we just pressed down, and so this is essentially checking for jump and crouch at the same time. Self dot position Y plus 1. I'm assuming Y is increasing downward, so we move ourselves down a little bit. This block of code checks if the player has just either pressed crouch and down while the other key is already pressed. It's important to know that copying and pasting code will not work as is, because in Godot I specified crouch as a special input to be control. Okay, so this is part of the control. The developer will need to set this or something similar in the project setting, or bind this to a different value. If this check returns true, the player will attempt to move themselves exactly 1 pixel downward on the screen. Since our one-way platform has a tolerance of 1 pixel, the player will pass through the platform as shown. That's an interesting solution, right? So we pass through it by pressing 1 downward on these 1 pixel ones, rather than like disabling a collision on it. We just say, okay, well, we're going to shift ourselves in. A drawback to this method is the player can not rapidly drop through multiple floors. Okay, they have to wait until they land. This is what I was saying about Tani's solution. You could actually fall through all of them if you want. They have to wait until they land, or as a developer, you will need to increase the Y position shift, which may cause a stuttering effect. This is solved using method 2. Okay, so we have a solution to this. This is the mask solution. Okay, for those just interested in copy pasting, here's the code. We're going to do a mask here when we do it, rather than moving the 1 pixel. Okay, I like that you said, oh, here's one way you might approach it, but here's a way that I feel is maybe a little bit better. This block of code disables the collision mask value too. The player has just pressed either crouch and down, while the other key is also pressed. This allows the player to pass through any object or platform that are in collision mask 2. However, because we disable the mask, we then need an additional check for when one of our 2 buttons are released. Once either is released, we set the collision mask value 2 back to true. Oh, I like this. So you're holding down, you press it, and as long as you're holding, you'll keep falling through. When you release, so you can choose which platform to land on. That is interesting. I like that. Using this method, we do not need to rely on shifting the player any distance, which allows them to fall more gracefully. The following image shows how this method is similar to method 1, but allows the player to rapidly transition through floors. And you could potentially let go to stop on this if you could get the timing right. I can imagine a game where you might try and get the timing to stop in one area. It's because I feel it's nice quality of life to promote level navigation. Yeah. All right, let's check it out in action. And then we'll look at your code as well. So what's interesting here is the code. You didn't add any, really simple code here. It's all about the setup. The code is very simple, assuming we have the correct setup here. All right, so let's go to our generic level scene. Okay. All right, and I think no scene, select current. Let's try it. Error function get gravity not found in base self. Did I open up the wrong thing? References. Maybe I need to go into Godot 4.3? Is this a Godot 4.3 thing? Yeah, I'm gonna switch to Godot 4.3 because it's super fast. Let me get Godot 4.3. Let me revert any changes that might have been applied here. Yeah, see, it made some changes probably because I was doing that. So we'll reset those. All right, so there's no changes now. Let's go. I'm gonna download the latest version, Godot 4.3. It's not necessarily the stable, so this is Godot 4.3.5, correct? It's on the inside. No, it's fine. 4.3 build 5. Okay. Download. Jump to downloads. All right, let's get it standard. So here's the thing. Look how quick it is for me to get the new Godot version here. Takes almost nothing to get the new Godot version. Super fast download, super lightweight. Something I really like about Godot. Okay. Boom, loaded up, easy. They don't, so Unity has like the Unity Home. Something like that might be nice for Unity, have a little thing to manage it. And maybe they have it, I just don't know about it. Be like, oh, well, I want this version, I want that version. Swap to this one, swap to that one. All right, so we're gonna reopen this. I'm gonna see if it works. Nice write-up though, Fortune's favorite. Thought the write-up was very clean, very clear. I think I saw one typo in it, which is fine. Let's try it now. Okay, yeah, so there is. All right, so my jump, I can't move this. So I like that you're showing the method 2 is over here. All right, so if I'm pressing down, all right, oh, it's control, I think. Control, okay, there we go, there we go. All right, so if I press down in control, I can stop myself on that second one if I want to. If I tap it, I fall through. But you can do some timing things. If I'm just holding it, I fall through all of them. I can hold it, I can time it to land here. That's really nice, I like that. Won't work on this side, but let's test it out here. I do like that your scene also has, so I can't hold and fall through here. I love that your scene, and this is something that I'll say here, I love that your scene has these green platforms to demonstrate platforms that you can't fall through, right? So there's nothing I can do to get through this one here. My control button, if I tap it, does this, by the way. It highlights where my cursor is. So it's doing a funny thing there when I do that. Very cool. And I don't think there's any extra code here, right? I actually, Boxy Boy GD script. All right, so we have our basic movement controls, I believe. And then method 1 and method 2. All right, method 1 just drops us down like this. Method 2 turns it on and off. How are we detecting between them two? Yeah, nice and easy to find. I like that. I love the brevity of this code. The code is incredibly brief, which I love. And I'm assuming, yeah, it's attached to our player here. I'm curious how we figure out, where is this called? You're calling both of them. Okay, I see. So you actually just call both of them. But the one on the, so if I were to disable this, right? I just want to see what happens if I disable it. Just to say, okay, by the way, it's the one pixel shift isn't actually what's moving me through this over here. Right? If I'm holding down and press control, there we go. I do like the brevity of it. It's interesting. So it's all about the setup. It's all about the setup. We don't actually attach the script. Yeah. Very nice. Exactly. Method 2 does rely on it there. That said, let's go look at our collision on these guys here. We still have the one-way collision, right? Very cool. I really like this solution. I really like your demo scene here. I like your demo scene. Your write-up's pretty solid. I mean, on the fall through, using the one pixel, showing like, here's one way, here's another way. One way, it basically comes all about the setup. It's all about the setup of making this thing a one way. You don't have to attach a script to these things. In my mind, attaching, the one thing that I think makes it maybe more modular is having it attached. So one thing I really liked about solutions where we attach it to the object itself is we can have it. So let's have our enemies be able to do little things where they jump through. But you can adjust that here too as well. It's all about layers in this case. You'd say instead that logic would be on your Boxy Boy, right? Your Boxy Boy script. Instead of just having it fall through like this, you would do similar to what was done in CodeMonks, where on your actual object, it's the thing that disables it, and you send the signal saying turn it on or off. Soul and Sword, welcome back to the stream. May the 4th be with you. That's right. May the Force be with you. That's right. It's May 4th day. Star Wars Day. Fortune's favorite. Very simple solution. I'm super long-winded, but it works. I like your write-up. Let's get this merged in. Excellent. Excellent job. Great submission. Let's get this merged in. Clean solution. Absolutely incredibly clean solution. How about making a Star Wars game? We can make a Star Wars game. Maybe not. I might get, Disney might not like that. Disney might not like that. And Disney, the mouse will come get you. The mouse will get you. All right. Mooniz, you got the next solution pulled up for us?
I do.
Awesome.
For a second, I totally forgot that I was in a call with you.
I've done that before
looking
too.
At the stream and just sat there looking, thinking, yeah.
That's hilarious. All right. So, which submission are we looking at here? Oh, this is Tuber Tuggers.
Tuber Tuggers, yeah. And as a scene, it's very simple as well. You can see it's only two scripts here. One is only to color these drop-through platforms when you go through them. So it works perfectly. There's a little bit of a snap to it when you jump up. But apart from that, it's there is no problem at all with it.
Into the void.
This was my first solution of doing a drop-through platforms as well, kind of, where it's a time-based one.
Gotcha. So it looks like if you are partially through it, it bumps you up to the top. Is that what's going on there?
So when you collide with it from below or dropping through it, it turns into a trigger. So you just drop through it. So as you can see, it's green. That means it's a trigger. And after a while, it's going to turn red.
So it turns back into a solid platform.
Yeah. So you can, yeah. So that's similar to my first solution. The code is also very, very simple, and I like it. So first we have the color. Just changing the color of the block when we do through it. But other than that, we're just getting the inputs. We're checking if space is pressed and grounded, and then we check if we are holding down on the vertical. If you're holding down, we try to drop through. And here we do this similar to Sigians, where we do an overlap. Here we do an overlap circle all to fetch all the colliders, and we add a coroutine to just set them as triggers for half a second, and then we set them back.
Nice.
And then we also have the same for check above for platforms. So when you're jumping from beneath, then we're doing the same. So we're doing a raycast there to disable it.
our dopamine. Oh, I got that fix. Oh,
Yeah. So that is solution. Super short and simple, and the dropping through is just a couple of methods here. Very short. It's not complex at all, and I think anyone could understand this.
Very nice. And it's attached to the player in this case, or is it
Yes,
both?
it's attached to the player. So we only have the
Okay.
play controller script there. I would have preferred if it was like this part was moved into its own script, so we could just so you could call it from your own player, because usually you already have a player script when you get into this part. But the solution is very simple and also very simple to use. You could basically just copy this code and
Drop it in.
it should work.
So one thing that Tuber did mention though is this particular solution, if an enemy or something else was on the platform, they would fall through as well.
Yes, exactly. So
Gotcha.
as we are disabling the whole platform, it will not work for if there's more things on it.
Yeah.
same for
So
if something's on it
everything
when
it
we jump
disables
up.
it for anything that's on it.
Yeah.
So a
It'll-
solution to that would be to make it so that it's based on layers rather than disabling the whole thing
Yes.
altogether.
You could also, instead of setting it to trigger, we could, since we are in the player script, we could change this to the other way we were doing. Ignore collision.
Oh, that's right. Ignore layer or ignore collision. Sorry.
Ignore collision. So we do the collider and our own collider. We don't have that. So let's just do a get component collider 2D. True. And then we set this to false. And I think this. I'm not sure it is gonna work. I hope so, but I'm not sure. Yeah, now we can drop
Nice.
through the platform.
You got to turn it back on afterwards, I think.
Oops. Oh yeah, I set it to true here as well. It should be false.
There we go.
There we go. But that turns the visuals rely on the trigger thing, yeah. But this would make it possible to use in a lot of other cases. This
Nice.
doesn't work properly with the check above. Really?
Some adjustments would need to be made for that.
Yeah. But I think this small change would make the solution a lot easier to cover a lot more use cases. But it's a very simple solution, and I like it.
Yeah, great work, Tuber Tugger. I know you were nervous about it, but this looks awesome. Simple, really simple.
Yeah. So this is the only change I would do, and it would be a proper solution,
Great work.
like a reusable solution in a lot of cases. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think we should merge this one in or provide feedback and hope for a fix to make it more versatile?
I would suggest fixing this and making
Okay.
it work with the jumping up as well to have a better, more usable controller.
Okay. Well, let's add that to the pull request as a comment that,
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe copy and paste this into a comment, say, hey, this might be a good change to make, and then update the code to work. Awesome. Tuber Tugger, thank you so much for submitting this.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for contributing to the community. Muniz, thank you for the review on it.
Great submission.
Great submission. Yeah, simple. Simple is good. Okay. Let's I have nothing else to say. You got anything left on this one, Muniz?
No, I think I got it all. I like it. Very simple, very little code. I like it.
I like it a lot. Perfect. All right, let's take a look. So Moon is going to put a little review on that with some suggestions on finishing it. Mars 9T, are you here? Or let's see, Tafaz, are you here? We got 2 left to look at. We got Tafaz is a Unity, and Mars 9T is Godot 4 in C#. So I'm going to get the Godot 4 C# one loaded up here. And then Moon is, when you're ready, you can get Tafaz. That'll be the last Unity one.
Yeah.
That's all of the entries, folks. This is exciting. It's exciting. Then we can maybe deliberate. I don't know if we didn't decide if we're going to pick the winners today. But maybe we can deliberate on a little bit. I'm always nervous picking them live, so I'm thinking maybe offline. But
Yeah.
you get to pick one, I get to pick one.
Sounds good.
So it's a little. I feel like it's going to be a little bit biased, but that's what happens. Okay, let me get this onto mine here. Let's go back here. Let's add this remote. Oops, get stash. I didn't want to do a get stash. Get stash pop. That is the point, right? Yeah, get status, get reset hard. Check out main. Let's get this full. Origin favorite, you're right. Yeah. And this is Mars 9T. All right, and we're gonna get check out. Godot Sharp. Godot Sharp, Mars 9T. Yeah, we need the Spider-Man putting in. What are we looking at? Proton, we're doing our mechanically challenged today. What? Tell me about this link before I click on it. Or maybe Mod could check it out. Mod, check it out, and then let me know what it is. Maybe we have a chance to look at it. But right now we're looking at Mars 9T's solution. In Godot, let's get this added. Let's go ahead and close this here. Oh, perfect, Tawny. Thank you for that. We'll make sure to look at your question before the end of the stream for sure. We'll probably have time to look at this stuff too. Proton, it's looking like we'll have. Yeah, we'll come back to this. Close all. Godot stable. Oh, it's music for me to play. It's the way my setup is, playing music on my desktop while Moon is on is a little bit tricky. My audio setup is awkward in yeah. Let me go find this here. Let me blur that. Get Moon is why am I so bad at this? Mechanically challenged. Godot 4 C#. Mars 9T. Let's do it. Import. I'm warning this project uses. Oh, I need to go open. I need the. That's right. I need the mono version. You want out of the room, dog? Diesel, you want out of the room real quick? I know you're getting anxious in here. There you go. I'll be out in a little bit. My poor dog is all whiny in here. All right, let's get this up. All right, Muniz, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, we're going to focus on mechanically challenged. All right, now let's open up Mars 19. Beautiful. There it goes. There it goes. Let's see if we got a README. Do we have a README? There is. Let's see what it says. Oh, I know we're blurred. It's because I had like some of my folders showing. Tawny, thank you for the reminder, though. Ooh, this looks fancy. Look at that. This looks fancy. We got sprites in here. Let's go pull up our README. README Godot 4 C# example of passable platforms. This is, as much as possible, a code first solution. I like that, as there are not a lot of approaches available. You can easily find solutions that set everything up in the editor inspector, but then you are left out with figuring out how to manage that in more detail in code. So here it is. All right, let's take a look. Let's give a shout out to Mars9T as well. Shout out Mars9T, another streamer out there. Did I do the wrong Mars9T? Hang on. I think I did the wrong Mars. I think I did the wrong because it's showing I'm not following that one. Mars. Yeah, there's an underscore in there. All right, we're going to remember to give Mars9T an actual shout out here. Folks, be sure to go follow the real Mars9T. There we go. We got to make sure we do that. Dev Donut, great to see you. Welcome back to the stream. We are looking at Mars9T's solution to our Mechanically Challenged. Hi, Dad. So if you want to check out Mechanically Challenged next month, Dev Donut, I hope you'll take a chance. I hope you'll do it. Okay. Introduction, blocking platform, typical map elements that act as a floor. A map element that, besides the regular blocking platform functions, can have one or both additional. Allows to drop down after particular input action is issued while standing on it. Allows to jump through it from below. So you set it up so you could do both those things, one or the other. One or the other. The boring input map. The only input relevant to the drop-down mechanic is a single action drop-down. All other actions are there only so we can move our character around. Got it. Okay. So move left, move right, jump, down. So I think we've configured, this is interesting because I'm not familiar with Godot's input mapping, but it looks like you've mapped it, and someone correct me here, so that you have to press both of these together. Or one or the other. Oh, S or down. Never mind. It's just one or the other. I'm smart. I gotta read it. You know, you can use both. Yeah, I see here. I was thinking it was S and down. I was like, that's a weird jump button. S and down. Realizing that's just the down key. World map and platforms. The solution has two usage. Drop down. Gotcha. Two usages. On a tile map, having some tiles acting as passable platforms. So this is the first one I've seen using a tile map. Outside of a tile map, using custom scenes for platforms. Okay. Tile map setup. I love the highlighting that's being done here. So we have these highlights to draw out the information rather than just a screenshot of that one section. It's like, here's the whole scene with the highlighted sections pulled out. Okay, so tile set. The layers here are important in the map. So we have a map. We have our physics layers, collision layers like this, and then the sets here. Add a tile map, and then there's instructions on doing it. Distron, yes, they're submitted as GitHub pull requests. So you add a tile map, create or use existing tile sets, and then add two physics layers, one that has collision layer set to 1, the other has collision layer set to 2, master not relevant for the direction of the interaction we'll be using. Gotcha. Right, so this is physics layer and collision layers. Like we've seen in some of the other ones as well. All right, tile set for blocking tiles. Okay, so we have tiles that are blocking tiles. We've selected them here, and we've set the physics layers. Select a tile from the tile set that you want to act as a blocking platform. So this is nice because it's how you would do it using a tile map here. The other one just had physical objects. So I really, really like this solution showing the tile map. It's the only one I've seen actually using a tile map, which is in a 2D game highly probable, especially if you're doing a pixel art game, they'll be using a tile map to make these things. This is cool. Select a tile from the sheet that you want to act as a blocking platform. Go to the physics layer 0. So this is reference to the tile map before. Select the collision shape for your tile. So you can change the shape a little bit if you need to. Okay. Tile set for passable tiles. Okay, so then we go in and we set the physics layer to 1 for passable tiles. Expand the polygon and select one way. So this is an important part here. These are ones that you are going through. Yeah, the Godot devs delivering on the READMEs for real. For real. One way here. This is the important bit, right? So we can pass through when we're dropping, but we can jump through them from the bottom up. And then here's the option for the custom platform. The example uses static body with collision shape. This is what we've seen in the other solutions. It's because Godot is super hard to understand. Maybe. I think it's because there are fewer tutorials on them already. So this is actually really nice, I think, for the Godot community, especially someone like me who hasn't used Godot very much. Example uses static body shapes align. All the collision setup is done in the script. Don't forget to attach it to your scene. Here's a core part. All right. So the collision layer here, this is the important part here. This, analogous to the character setup, here's the platform collision layers are set up. The use of the comma const values to make sure we don't actually use wrong numbers. And then here we have the one way is passable. This allows us to jump to the platform from below. The hero, you, controlling the player character. I love this. The most important part in a player scene is to position the raycast correctly at the bottom where the contact with the platform is going to happen. The link can be short as we mostly want to detect platform directly below us. The core setup for a player. Okay. Set the timer that acts as you have to hold for the long to initiate a drop. Okay. So we have a drop down timer. This is how long it will show. This timer that acts, you have to hold. Okay, so you have to hold the timer a little bit to fall through. Okay, I like that. So in this one, it's you don't have to press down and jump. It's just you hold the button. In this case, we have code that says how long. It's not just tapping it down. You like would crouch and then fall through. We'll see that when I run it, I'm sure. Set the character's collision mask based on some handy const values. All collision setup is done in the code. This streamlines how we manage them. All right, so this is our blocking platform and passable. So I like that we're using constants here to manage these. It makes it easy to label. Don't accidentally type 1 or 2. And so this is because what's interesting here, one thing I maybe don't like about Godot is I'm not sure we can actually label these. In Unity, I think we're able to label them. I think we get 64 and you can label them. Okay. Similar to the character, it sets ray collision mask. This is should detect only passable things. Oh, you can name them? All right, cool, CodeMonk. I don't know. I was only seeing it not labeled here. This property has to be set true for the solution to properly reset the character's collision. It allows Ray to still detect collisions while the character has already started falling through. Thanks to this offset, we can reset character's collision once the Ray stops detecting collision on. This allows to not rely on the timer. This allows to not rely on timer or a second shape collision to reset character's collision once it's. See, there's more text on it. Once it's fully below the platform. Gotcha. Hit from inside. True. Okay. Yeah, okay. The rest lies on parts of the code, ones relevant to dropdown are placed in methods starting with dropdown, others starting with common contain common boilerplate code for character input movement. Give them a look. Okay. Well, this gets you started initially, just run it and see how it works in action. All right, let's run it, and then we'll dissect the code as suggested here. Yeah, Fortune Favorites, I really like that tile maps are in this. Fox Hollow Games, welcome back to the stream. Great to see you, my friend. All right, let's run it. Let's see if we get it to work. Godot meets C#. We got build time, just like in Unity. We have that build going. All right, here we go. Blocking, passable. I hold down to fall through. I can't fall through these ones. So another thing I really like, I like that we have the little demo following me around here. I like that this demonstrates it has two things in it. So it's demonstrating multiple ways you can do it. One, showing both blocking platforms, passable platforms, and holding to fall through on this. And then over on the side, we have, again, blocking tile maps. The tile maps are tiny compared to the player, which I find slightly hilarious, but that doesn't matter. But we can pass through it here. I really like the tile map solution. That is awesome, because I imagine if I'm just imagining about how when I've done platformers, I've always done it using tile maps, right? If I wasn't doing pixel art, maybe I wouldn't. I might draw it out a little bit, have it hand drawn or something like that. But every time I've done it, I've used tile maps for 2D stuff. Really simple. So demonstration is nice. Let's go look at the code. Let's go look at the code here. And I have that opened up in my VS Code here. Platform.cs. So we have platform.cs and player.cs. And this is, I think, our only C# solution for Godot, which, as you guys know, I'm a huge C# fan. So maybe in my mind a little bit. I like the comments in here. Explain it because this is a tutorial code. Normally comments in the code are bad in my opinion, but just explaining what these are doing is nice. Okay. The code is really short as well. Look how short this code is. Once you take out all these comments, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines of code to explain it. Look at our platform. And the platform here, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code to do the setup as well. So really simple setup. I love it. I love it. Setting our collision here. We have our const. Const, is this just part of, okay, so an internal const class in the helpers in our player. Getting a raycast here. So I love that it's a code first solution. Code first solution. Did we, on these platforms, one thing that's interesting here, oh, we did the one way. Did we do one way on these? So that's the question. All right, this passable one, we had to have added in passable platform. Let's go into that scene. Is there a scene? Yeah, platform. Here it is. Okay. Polygon 2D. It has a Polygon 2D on it. What am I missing here for how we did the pass through on this? Is it just... Let me go look at the README one more time. So, because I know we did the one way here. So for this one, we did one way. For the custom platform, one thing that's interesting is we don't have the one way. We didn't do a one way on it. So that is interesting to me. It's just because we turned on the blocking or not blocking here. So that is, I don't quite understand how the pass-through is happening from the bottom. I think I must be missing something here. All right, so Tani was saying if I click on this, I can click on the little icon here. Thank you for that, Tani. Yeah, I don't quite understand how that works. That's okay. That's just me not understanding. Clearly it works. In our platform, okay, so here it is. One-way collision passable. Okay, so we turn it on here. This is actually a thing that we're setting. I see. Okay, so this is connected to our actual, so I have passable here. Passable platform. Here it is. It's turned on with this code here. So I really like this solution because you can take this code and you can attach it in different spots. It's not actually, it doesn't require you to modify any existing Godot stuff. You create a node of this type, you attach it here, and it's part of this one here. I know that text is tiny, but we can see this here. So passable, this is part of our platform, whether or not it's passable. And so I really like that. And so each of your platforms, you can select whether or not you want to be passable or not. And then and then our tile map, it was sort of the same thing in our tile map setup there. Very nice solution. Mars 90, I love this solution. I love the tile map solution. I love that you showed both tile maps and custom. I love that it feels very portable. You can take this thing, drop it in anywhere. You don't have to keep modifying all of your different platforms. You just take this platform, add it in, and adjust it as necessary. Really, really nice solution. The write-up is great too. Modular, yeah, Oryx. I love the modularity of it. Mars 9T, I think this one's good to go. Mooniz, any comments on this one?
No, that's a very, I mean, it looks like a very solid solution.
Yeah.
Also using tile maps, which is something I don't think I've seen before in very many places.
Yeah. For your Moonvania, you have drop-through platforms. Do you not use tile maps for them?
No, they are objects, all the prefabs.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Our dopamine. Oh, I got that fix.
Thank you for the dopamine. Really nice solution. Let's get this merged in. I think this one's good to go. All right. Tafaz, are you here? Tafaz is not here. All right, we got it merged in. Mooniz, do you have a, are you ready? We got Tafaz
Yes.
as our last submission.
I'm ready.
All right, let me get you on. Let me load you up here. I don't know why I struggle to find you every time. There we go. Okay. Before we get started, I just gotta say the color scheme is rough on this one, but that's okay. Look, some people. All right, the color scheme hurts my eyes a little bit. Imperial, great to see you.
There we go. This is better.
All right, perfect.
Yeah. So a normal. I mean, it's a solid solution. You can drop through platforms. You can't go through them. You could add the platform effector to be able to go through them if you wanted to, but you can drop through them and you can also move inside of them until you go outside of the bounds of the collider. So similar to my solution where you just kind of stay inside of it. And then you add a collision back when you go into it. The difference in this one though is, I think, let's see, we have two scripts. We have a drop through platform that goes on the object. Yeah, it's using the same. Yeah, let's see. I didn't look at it too well. That we have it here. Yeah, okay. So each platform has a child collider, or a child object that has a trigger collider that is using the drop through platforms. This one is checking if we are colliding with it still, so we can still be inside of it. When we leave this trigger collider, then we cannot we set the collision back to it. So solid solution.
The only simple solution.
Yeah, here we are excluding the whole player though in the solution, or the player layer from each of the drop through platforms. So that would probably, if you have multiplayer, this would not work because both players would be able to go through it while one is colliding with it. Some performance inefficient? No, I don't think so. The only inefficient thing here is that we are using get component in one place in children.
So you could cache that ahead of time.
Yeah, but the player movement is also very simple. You have a move, jump, it's normal player collider, and then we just check if we're jumping and holding down. We check if we have a platform. Or if we have the drop through platform, from the grounded checker. So this ground checker is fetching the platform, and if we have a collision, then we get it from the player or in the player and start and drop. So it's also a very simple solution where I like this because the code is moved out to its own class, its own mode behavior that handles the checking the collision, and then you drop it on the platform itself, drops it. So the player doesn't really care, doesn't do much apart from just telling the platform to drop and fetching a value from the ground checker. So I think it's also
very simple. The code is really, really simple. Was there a README for this one?
Yes, there was a README.
Okay, so there are some little instructions.
So you have a sample scene with 3 platforms. It just tells you kind of how to use it and how it works. So the platform will remain non-collidable until the player leaves the bounding box. If the player changes layer, then it must be set in the inspector for the ground checker on the play game object and the drop through platforms prefab. So it tells you how to use it and how to, if you change something, how it works. So yeah,
cool, very nice.
Solid, simple solution.
So this would work with if you had enemies in the scene. The only thing that wouldn't work would be 2 players at the same time. So it's the player layer.
Exactly.
You'd have to make like a player 1 or player 2 layer type thing, and then that could be
Yes.
real wonky throughout the whole project. Great. Do you feel this solution can be merged into? Is it a complete package?
Yeah, I think it's a complete package. It has good samples. It has prefabs. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, people loving your voice, Moonez. They want you to serenade us as we relax on a wonderful morning here, moving into the evening for you probably.
Yeah, I
very
hope
cool.
you don't fall asleep while I'm going through these submissions, though, because they are pretty good.
Yeah, some awesome submissions. Thank you, everyone who submitted. Thank you, everyone, for being here to check this out. Moonez, do we want to deliberate live? Or would you be comfortable deliberating live? Which ones are your favorites in awarding prizes live, or do we want to do that off stream?
I could. I have my favorite.
You have your favorite? So
I have my favorite.
I'm worried that we're gonna have the same favorite. My
favorite is using Unity.
Okay,
so you
yeah,
know.
my favorite was one of the Unity ones too, so I'm a little bit
Okay.
I'm worried it's going to be the same one. Do we want to do a rock like flip for it to see who's going to reveal theirs first, and then because if you reveal the same one as me, then I have to pick a different one. Right? This is what I'm saying. We might maybe we should DM each other. So let me say. So I thought the one that did 3D and 2D was, in my opinion, the best one overall.
Yes.
Okay, so Sigian, I think Moonez and I agree that yours was the most robust solution. Would you agree with that statement, Moonez?
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
My second favorite is the one that does tile maps. I'd be curious if you agree on the second favorite.
I agree on that one too.
Okay. So then there's not much to deliberate about.
No.
All right. So the tile map one is almost my favorite one just because the README is so nice and robust and has the description. But the 3D one just has so much and feels so modular and reusable. And I'm biased because of Unity, right? So I'm glad that we did it. All right. So we have two winners. Sigian, Decuric Sigian, congratulations. And Mars9T, congratulations.
I also want to say there are many good solutions.
Yes.
Great solutions, and but some of them really were just a bit better than the rest with readmes and with like the playability and how they work in games.
And exactly the thing that set those two apart, or for me, the one that what really sets the Mars9T solution apart was the fact that it did something different than everyone else's. The tile map thing is a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then the README was robust. And then I'm a fanatic for how code is written. It's a solution that is pretty modular, doesn't rely too much on built-in parts of Godot. And so you have like this idea of how to do it, just in general. And so I really, really liked that breakdown. What was your favorite parts about Sigian's solution, Moonez?
It was a clean solution, and it used it worked in all the use cases that I could think of, and so it was just a fully featured solution to this problem, because there's a lot of other solutions that can fail in some situations. And might not be perfect for every solution, but it felt like Sigian's solution was it covered most ground. Yeah.
That's exactly how I felt about it too. That's why I said it apart was it's covering the example scenes. So the thing that set it apart, so let's look at those two together. Mars9T's with the tile map and Sigian's with the 3D solution. The thing that really set Sigian's apart was the different types of platforms, and then also having the example of the second character not falling through at the same time. So I
Yes.
really felt like those samples were the superior. So how reusable is it? How easy it to understand? And how does it demonstrate its use cases? And I thought Stygian's was fantastic in that regard.
I agree to everything you just said.
Awesome. Okay. Is that it for Mechanical? We do have an Immortal Kid here if we want to see if we can get Immortal Kid's solution working. I'm not sure if you still have that easily accessible. But everyone, thank you so much for your submissions. We do have... it's using an old version of Unity. That is what it is.
Oh, okay.
That makes
I was
sense.
opening it in 2023, I think.
Okay. Real quick, I want to do a plug for this month, May 2024, the next Mechanic Challenge here. So for anyone who's just joining us, we did talk about it a little bit at the beginning, but let's talk about it a little bit more for the special platforms. Actually, let me do a recording. Let me do a recording here. Let me do a marker so that we can, this will be the new video for Mechanically Challenged. So everyone be quiet. Quiet down, you. No, everyone in chat, shh, listen. No, it's okay. Look, they can't hear you, chat. They can't hear you. Let me adjust my, let me turn the
Our
music
dopamine.
off.
Oh, I got that fix.
Thank you for the dopamine. I probably need to set something up so
You
I can
in the
turn off
back.
those.
Pay attention.
Yeah, all right. So chat, it turns out we can hear you if you use those commands. So we're not going to use the commands just for now. We're going to do a recording. Oh
Seems
no,
good.
it's going to be impossible. There is no spoon. Thank you so much for the follow. There is no spoon, you know it. Thank you for following me. Today we're gonna do a recording. Do a recording. All right, let me see if I can turn off those. Hang on. I think we can turn off all of that stuff here since I'm gonna be recording. Welcome to the stream. There is no spoon. So glad to have you here. Hang on. I have a button. Firebot. There it is. All right. Oh, it turns off the chat too. All right, what happened? Someone try a command. Hey. Okay, so yeah, it is part of that.
You in the
same-
back.
All right, so I can disable. All right, we have those disabled. Sorry, everybody. We're gonna disable those while I do this recording. But we're gonna talk about Mechanically Challenged here, so everyone can see what Mechanically Challenged is. Let me set a marker. Add stream marker. Mechanically Challenged. It's going to be the only marker. There we go. Welcome back to Mechanically Challenged, which is a challenge hosted by Moonniz and myself, the Captain Coder, in which members of our community try to recreate mechanics found in games. The goal is to create a library, a resource for anyone wanting to learn how to make games, learn how to implement specific mechanics, a single place to go find those things. This month, May 2024, our mechanic that we're challenging to implement is a special platform, Slopes and Loops. Made popular, or probably most iconic from the Sonic series. Here you see over on the left here, Sonic doesn't have flat platforms. We have these curved platforms that you can run on. They affect you as you're moving around them. And then we also have things like loops and spins. So as we go through a loop, Sonic's sprite will change, loop around, affected a little bit by the gravity. If we're not going fast enough, we actually don't make it up the loop here. So check out each one of these. The goal is to create one or both of these mechanics. You can make sloped platforms, you can make looped platforms, you can make spiral platforms, platforms that are non-traditional. You can make sloped platforms, looping platforms, or both. One thing to notice and think about as you implement this and how you want to do it is how do we adjust the angle of the sprite on the slope? How do we affect the velocity while we're on the slope? Making the character slide down the slope if it's too steep. And then also making sure that the player has conditions under which they go through the loop. Both 2D and 3D submissions are absolutely a welcome. And it's up to you how you choose to implement them. You can use Unity, you can use Godot, you can use Unreal, you can use GameMaker, you can use Click Team Fusion. You can write your own little engine from scratch. It's up to you. We want to have as many different engines and solutions as possible. And if you submit before the end of the month, before June 1st, you're eligible for an educational mechanic prize. 2 of these will be awarded, one of them from myself, the Captain Coder, and the other from Moonniz, who will award we will award them, sorry about that, we will award them to our favorite solutions, the ones we think are the most educational, the most reusable, the simplest solutions. How do you participate? Hop on over to GitHub here. What you're going to do is you're going to make a fork of this repository. Click this fork button here. I'm going to write your solution, and then you're going to submit it here following these instructions, how to participate. Within your fork, create a folder with your engine name, language, and then your username. You're going to write a minimal version that you're going to submit along with code and a README explaining how to use it, how your mechanic works, and how to import it into that project. Once you're done, Muniz and I will review them, probably live on stream, and then 2 fabulous people will receive our mechanical rewards. I hope you guys will keep coding, keep growing, keep being the best you can be. Hope to see your solution soon. And as always, keep being awesome. All right, we did it. We made it through. Whew, that was rough. That was rough. I'll probably chop that up, edit it a little bit, but close enough. Close enough, everybody. We do it in one. Do it in one take. Muniz, what do you think? Do we still have Muniz? Oh, we do. It was perfect.
Seems good.
Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna put that little video at the top there. Yeah, slopes and loops, one or the other or both.
Our dopamine. Oh, I got
All right,
that
Muniz,
fix.
any final thoughts
Whoa.
on Mechanically Challenged before we wrap up here? Okay. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Tuber Tiger, by the way, minimal versions can still include prefabs, applers. We just don't want to have 50 megabytes of sprites and stuff in the project. Yeah, and Unreal. So no one's happened to submit an Unreal one, but Unreal projects end up being massive, even like in GitHub minimal versions. They're huge, huge sets of files. So we just got to be careful with that. Okay. Well, that's it for this month's Mechanically Challenged. I hope you guys will join us in June for this. A lot of awesome things coming up as well. I just want to promote that we have a game jam coming up as well in June as well. Captain Coder's learning you a game jam. The second one, folks, we got to get these numbers up. We only 4 people. What kind of game jam is this going to be? Don't you guys want to learn and code and grow and share with the crew? Come on, click that join button. Join the jam. Join the jam. It's 2 weeks long, nice and easy, and we got lots of prizes. We got lots of prizes for you beautiful people out there. You see 5, let me hit refresh. Boom! Thank you for joining. Whoever joined, thank you guys so much. Muniz, if you want, I guess I should say I'm sorry, I'm a bad host here. Muniz, thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning.
Thank you so much for hosting this. It was fun. It was really nice to see all the cool solutions, and I think it went great. And yeah, thank you all for participating.
Yeah, can't wait to get back to. Oh yeah, we have some questions. Muniz, thank you so much for hanging out with us, people, folks. Chat. Be sure if you're not following. I'm sure everyone's here following Muniz, but if you're not, click that heart button. Go check out Muniz, professional game developer working in Unity, creating a Metroidvania game in his free time. Great resource. Ask questions. He was the one that came up with Mechanically Challenged, so thank you for that. Thank you for hosting this with me. Have a beautiful day, Muniz, and can't wait to see you again.
Beautiful day, and see you, everyone. Bye bye.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna be working on our we have a little bit of work to do here. And if Smab's still here, I'd love to chat with Smab a little bit. We're going to be working back on our tactics. That's right, Tuber Tugger Tactics engine. So we're going to switch gears back into our tactics engine. I've been diddling with it a little bit. We got a pull request from Smab coming in. It's just a draft, but we're going to talk about using something there. But don't go anywhere. Captain Coder will return, everybody. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. I will take a quick break. We're going to come back, maybe get some stretches in, drink some water. Don't go anywhere. Maybe leave the VC to save Wi-Fi, Captain. Oh, the video call. Good call. Good call. Yeah, I'm in the. Look, we got to use up. We got to get our money's worth of that bandwidth. We should just stream to all the different places, right? All right. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. I'll return in a few minutes. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm back. I have returned. Thank you guys so much. Once again, thank you again to Moonness for joining us for Mechanically Challenged today. That was super fun. I can't wait for all of the submissions next time. That's right, we're doing slopes and loops. I probably should have said curved platforms and loops. I don't know. Slopes and loops is also fine. Yeah, Snabble, welcome back to the stream. I am one of Cap's earliest unfollowers. I think if you do, is there like a followage? Yeah, followage will show you how long you've been following. But Tawny, you've been here for a long time for sure. Kilton, thank you so much for sharing your tunes with us. We do have some questions we're going to answer, and then we're going to talk about the we're going to talk about monads. We're going to talk about 1 year, 3 months, 1 day, 1 hour. That's basically as long as I've been streaming. I've been streaming for a year and 5 months, 4 months, something like that. So you've been here from the beginning, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's look at some of these questions. The Cap is back. That's right. Let's see here. Let me pull these into a new file. Separate. Boop, boop. All right. Tipper Tucker says, you know what might be a fun stream idea? What if we found an open source project on GitHub to shine light on? Yeah, if anyone has an open source project they want me to look at, send me it. I'm not promising that we'll do it, but Discord's probably the best way to share that idea with me. Finding one is the hardest part. One of the ones I was thinking of looking at, there's like this F#, and this may not be everyone's cup of tea, but there's this F# game library I was super interested in checking out. Smab, you've been here from the very beginning, for sure. You've been here from the very beginning. Did you take a break? Yes, the answer is yes. All right, so Infinitani had a question. This one's a little bit longer. What I think is an issue that will be fixed with time is that with basic projects like this one, there's a lot of room for different interpretations because there aren't detailed plans. Yeah, but I think we can make things clear by giving more specific rules like we've done for this month's challenge. It leads to implementations that are similar to what is required, but then that cuts out a bit of developer creative time, I believe. Yeah, Tony, I want to find like a good balance, right? Another thing I want to do, another thing that Moonness and I want to do, I need to stop saying I because it's we. It's we. I don't want to take credit when it's, at least probably more like 60-70% Moonness' idea here. One thing I'd like to do is, one thing we would like to do, I need to stop, is set it up so you can submit suggestions for what mechanics to do. There is a suggestions on Discord, probably the best place. Yeah, I could probably fix that. The best place is probably going to be on recommendations or suggested topics. Suggested topics probably a little bit better than recommendations because this one sort of flows through. But either of those would be a good spot to do it. Yeah, so I think voting on these would be having people submit mechanic ideas and then having some sort of vote where people get to vote on the mechanic each month. And maybe we'll do that for June. I'm going to talk to Moonness and see if we can get that set up because there's a lot of logistical things to do to set up like a voting mechanic. But I think that would be really cool. Push Toy, welcome back to the stream. Great to have you here. But yeah, so that's what I want to do. I've been having so much fun with the Mechanically Challenged. And as my schedule opens up for the summer, we can do some more stuff with it. I'm super busy with my school year. Let me update the name of the stream real quick. Because we're going to be looking at the... looking at the option monad. Option monad in a... option monad in C# is what we're looking at for this next section. So we're going to be looking at the option monad, tactics, creating a tactics game in C#. More specifically, talk about the option monad. All right, let me update that here. There we go. And so we're going to talk about the option monad. Look, here's the thing I always say when learning something new. if you're trying to teach someone about recursion, don't say the word recursion. It just makes things confusing. Do recursion and say, oh, by the way, this thing we're doing is called recursion. I've already messed up by saying option monad. Already messed up by saying we're using the optional monad. But let's go look at what we got for our tactics engine. Let's pull this up here. All right. Tactics. Recursion is simple. You just recursion again. Yeah, it's just do recursion again. D-get captain coder org. Will we skip mechanic chance for June? We already have a game jam. So that's a good question. Either skip it or make it something really simple. Maybe the theme of the game jam. Never mention the, yeah, that's right. We never mention the M word. We never say monad because people, saying monad is, it drives people crazy because people are like, well, monad is a burrito. No, a monad is not a burrito. No, a monad is just a monoid in the category of endofunctors. Now, really it's that simple. It's that simple. Tactics engine. All right. Let's open up this project here and take a look at it. So I'm going to show you guys what we have. I'm going to show you the code, the previous, how we've modified it, try and simplify it a little bit. Monad, technical, a single unit, the number one philosophy, indivisible and hence ultimately simple entity. If you really want to drive people, you can always explain von Laerhoven lenses. Yeah, I mentioned the word lenses once on Grumpy's stream. I was like, oh, that's just like lenses. That's just like lenses. And it went down this crazy rabbit hole. We don't talk about lenses here. That said, lenses are cool. Lenses are cool. All right, so let's run this project. Let's get this project to run here. Endo functions, monads, monoids. What? C# kind of have lens support these days. Yeah, the width, right? Width is a little bit of a lens, which I think is really cool. That's exactly how it came up. It's like, oh yeah, we use width in C#, and it's actually implemented as a lens. So there's some like efficiencies, some good efficiency there. Let's see if this will open up for lenses are how we get efficient state change in functional data structures. All right, so here we go. This is what we have so far. This is what we implemented. So this is supposed to look, so I know it's not, look, all those mechanically challenged things looked a lot prettier than this. But this is what we got so far. So this is representing a game board. This is representing a game board here. Let me turn, there's a thing I want to turn on. Is that it? Nope. There it is. Oh no, it's showing the wrong thing. We're going to have that switch. Hang on. Switch to, there we go. There we go. Okay, posture check. How am I doing? How's my posture? Better? Thank you for the posture checks, Oryx. Okay. So this here is supposed, so if you look in the top right corner of the screen there, this is supposed to represent a game board. We have figures. The green things are supposed to be figures on the board, on a grid here. We can adjust the board, we can change the board. But what we've sort of been working on, and just because we haven't had a ton of time, moving these things around on the board, setting these up. There's a posture check or something I join in. Yeah. So this is why I stand. My posture is really bad when I'm sitting. When I'm standing, it tends to be much better. Not perfect. I have a little bit of a hunch, but we have this so that we cannot put these outside of the board area, and you cannot have them overlap. So we've written this code here. We can also add these. We can drag the figures in over here. There was a bug, whereas if we let go, it leaves the figure on the board. It actually put it in the top left. But we can drag these in, it'll drop it in here. You can actually, I think if we can't drop it in, it just removes it. So there's this interesting thing we're doing. Let's go look at the code. Let's go look at the code. I'm gonna go back to the old code. I'm gonna go back to the old code here. I didn't mean to do that. Let's get this running. Played a game of Cathedral. That's right, Grumpy. We're playing a game of Cathedral. Let's check out the main here. All right, so let's have this, let's rebuild this. So there's a bug in this older version. Uh-oh, something, there it goes. All right, so check that. There's a bug in this older version, and the code's far worse. So we've made some improvements here, but let's look at what we have here. So in this version where it just says board editor. Let's do a hard refresh here. Oh, we're missing. All right, so we actually added some. Hang on, this isn't the correct version. Get branch. Get checkout. 38. We are adding in a panel here. Hang on. Get pull. Get checkout main. Did I not merge this in? I didn't do a pull. I got to do a pull. Always a way to put the nad and monad. Yeah, that's right. I got to be careful what I say on stream. Got to be careful. Look, Captain Coder. Remember, Captain Coder here. Even I forget that we're a PG-11 stream sometimes. Easy to forget. All right. That one's safe-ish to put an ad in. We put the nad in monad. It really depends on what the word. That depends on what your definition of nad is, right? Okay. So here's what we had before. This was working. We had this moving. When we pull the figure in, though, if we let go, you'll notice it snaps it up here to the top left corner. So there was this bug here that Smab pointed out in our implementation. And let me show you where this bug comes from. Let me show you where this bug comes from. And it's specifically, we have this figure, if we go into my figure panel here, I have a figure renderer, okay? And when we start dragging this, so the figure panel is this thing here, and it's full of figures, and we have this thing that says, when we start dragging a figure, we're gonna call the tool and say, start dragging the figure, and this drag figure expects the following arguments. We're gonna say what board we're adding it to, what we're adding to the board, and then this is sort of an offset for our board. But you'll notice when I go to add this thing to the board, because I'm using a position figure, I have to specify where I want to add it. I have to say, well, we have a position here, position 0, 0, and when I let go, so for these ones, the position that we get, that position is the starting position. So if I fail to place it, where am I supposed to put it? If I fail to place it, where am I supposed to put it? So in this case, if I fail to place it, it says, oh, well, I put it in the top left corner. I put it in the top left corner, that's position 0, 0. So this was the original code. It's a bug in this. It's a bug in this. Because what if this thing wasn't on our board originally? What if we don't have this thing originally on our board? So let's go look at that code here. So Smab identified this bug. And so in our figure tool, great question, Solomancy. Why not return the original position? These figures don't have a position initially. Great question. The figures in this drawer that we add to the board aren't on the board. Yeah. so like grenades, yeah. So this figures, these aren't on the board to start. The position is none. Well, our figures actually don't have a position. Our figures are dumb. But we have this concept of a thing that can be positioned on the board, right? So the position is none. So what we could do, and let's go look at what Smab did for us. Smab has this great solution. Smab made a great solution to fix this one. Let's go look at the way Smab did it here. Smab has this request here. The figure, let's go look at the figure. The figure is dumb. A figure literally is this. A figure is either a thing that has a width and a height. This is what a figure is. It has a size. Or there's this concept of no figure. So we have a thing called a figure info, where you can be a figure or no figure, and a figure just has a size. It says how big it is. We're going to add some extra information in here as well. There's going to be some tags to represent like what image it should be. And then it'll be attached to like an enemy or a hero. It'll be attached to some more stuff. Yeah, so this is exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about the option monad here. So Smab identified this problem and made a correction to it. And so in Smab's solution, let's go look at the figure tool. In the figure tool, we have, okay, well, it's no longer just a dragged figure. It is a nullable drag figure. It says, okay, well, this may or may not be a thing. This may or may not be a thing. And what we do is we say, okay, well, when we start dragging, we still give a position. It happens to be 0, 0. But on the mouse over, we actually say, okay, well, we only set the dragged figure for dragging. And then when we let go, when we actually let go of the mouse, we have to do these null checks. We say, okay, well, if the selected is null, so we try and add it to the board. This here says if it cannot be added to the board, if it wasn't added to the board, we need to do this other check that says, well, is the selected position something that we started with, or is it this no position? So SMAB suggested, well, let's introduce this thing called no position, right? So we have our position, and so our position can have a position or be a no position, and it has sort of this value here. So this solves the problem, but now we have I saw this, I was like, I don't know if I like this completely. It works, it's not bad, it's not terrible, but people know I'm a never nester. I'm a never nester. And to be fair, I wrote some code that looked kind of like this before anyway. And this code has all these condition checks. If it's null, do this. And then if this other thing's null, do this. So we introduced something that I was like, okay, well, this is just reminding me of, people know that I'm a little bit of a functional, I like functional programming. In a lot of functional languages, you can't have nulls. There's no such thing as a null. And a lot of people say that null, not a lot of people, but people have suggested that having null values is sort of like a stain in object-oriented programming. Well, it's looking at it and your logic being like, okay, well, what's going on? It's not that big of a little bit. I'm 2 stories up a little bit. Yeah. All right. So let's look at what the option type does. It says, okay, we should avoid having nulls because nulls cause problems. And in C#, we've essentially introduced this question mark to say, well, now we're explicitly saying this thing can be null. Yeah, Tuber Tugger, it's a little bit of a crutch. It's like, okay. It sort of tells me that we may have designed something wrong. Voids, though. Yeah, voids are a little bit tricky. Thank you. Oh, man, my chat button work. Kilted, holy moly. Thank you, Kilted, so much for the donation. You're incredible. Kilted Ninja, thank you, thank you. Did I just close? Oh, my God, did I kill OBS? Am I still live? Okay, I just minimized. I thought I hit X on OBS. Oh, man. Panicked. I'm the Haskelator. All right, I'm still alive. I'm also still alive. I didn't die. Kilted, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Okay, so you could imagine as this thing goes, there's like more things to do. So I suggested to SMAB. No, SMAB, you're right. You added, what SMAB added was this no position, right? And so this felt weird to me. Maybe above we have a thing called position info, and we could have a no position and then a position. And I'm seeing here, you'll notice I have this pattern of like a no figure, or, and you'll see where I'm going with it. We have a no figure or a figure. And really it comes down to like, well, sometimes there's a figure there. And so there's going to be a refactor I think we can do here. Yeah, so I was introducing this weird pattern here. And it was kind of bothering me that I had this pattern, if I'm being completely honest. And so I suggested to SMAB, hey, maybe we could do an option type, and the null thing was bothering me here. So let's look at what the option type does. Let's look at what the code does for the option type here. And just to show that this works, so SMAB solved this problem. This is one way to solve it. I add something in here now, I let go, it doesn't add it. It just says, well, this code never gets run where the code is added to the board. It just doesn't do it. Yeah, so if you do equals, you can still return true because you can overload that. This pattern match is a little bit better if you want to check for true nullage. Okay, so I want to show my solution. I don't know that mine is actually better. So Grumpy, you're correct. There is a nullable that only T has to be a struct. T must be a struct for nullable. So it doesn't quite solve the problem. It only works with structs. You can't use it with a class type. So it has to be a value type, cannot be a reference type. All right. So let's go to, and I made this suggestion here to use the optional type. It's an option type. Let's go look at what option looks like. And this is probably, could potentially be overkill, but I like it. So and I've added too much here. Immutably filled it for the win, yeah. So I've already added too much here. But the idea is we have a thing called optional, and probably want to change this to option. And then we have a sum and a none. So a sum has a value and a none has no value. All right, sum has a value, none has no value. Let's go look at the code, which may be a little bit confusing to look at, but we've sort of hidden those if statements. We've hidden those if statements inside of these higher order functions. If you're familiar with select and where and select many in C#, those are the same as filter. Filter is where, flat map is select many, and invoke is kind of like a select that doesn't return anything. So the code here now says I have an optional figure. I have an optional position. Yeah, burrito-oriented programming. That's right. We're wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up. So optional here says that, well, we can be a position figure or we could be none. So it's kind of like null, but we have a type on it. So there's like this wrapper around it. You can also kind of think of optional as a list that can contain one thing or no things. Contain one thing or no things. And so we pass these things in here like this. All right, so one thing, and there was a design issue. If we go look at now where I do my on drag here, I've made these arguments optional. All right, so I have my board and the figure I'm pulling now. I don't actually tell it the position of the figure. Just say, hey, there's a figure here that we're dragging. And if we go look at our other figure renderer here, this one that drags inside of it, check drag start. Yeah, we this one actually invoke. I'm a little bit confused here. On drag start. Oh, we passed this down previously from our element renderer. Is that right? Where is it coming from? Our dragged element figure render, check drag start. It's from our board renderer. Okay. Position figure render. Okay. Our position figure renderer, when we drag one that's actually positioned on the board, we actually pass in the optional argument saying, well, this was the position of the figure and this was the offset. This gives us the ability, notice if I drag from the bottom right corner, it snaps. Oh, it should snap. Oh, that's interesting. Something's not right here. It should snap from the bottom right corner. Did this not reload? That's okay. It's supposed to drag from the bottom right corner. That's what this offset is. So there's something going on wrong with that. What we've done in our figure tool now, this invoke, when we start dragging anything, we need to remove the original figure from this position. Invoke on a sum applies it.
Dopamine.
Thank you for the dopamine,
I got
Oryx.
that fix.
So when we invoke here, it says if we're a none, we actually do nothing. If we're a sum, we run this function with the sum. So we no longer have to do that if check. We just say, oh, well, if it happens to be a thing, go ahead and run it. This is a lot like the question mark on the other one, but it allows me to do it on this position here. We need some hats. It's true, push to I am pretty weird. Similarly, our dragged figure becomes, well, we're going to take our selected figure and we map it to the position. When we're dragging this thing, this is what it looks like when we drag it. Okay. Oryx, I'm sorry. There's a cooldown. And then finally down here on our mouse up, we do this filter. It says, okay, well, if we were not able to add it, we keep that figure. All right. So in this step here, we say, can we add it to the board? If we couldn't add it to the board, then we transform it, that position, our original position, which is also an optional type. This could return none. If we have a none, then we never actually do this invoke. Okay, so we transform it if we have both the figure and the position. Then we know that we have a position that we can do it, and we finally can invoke it here, like this. And then the way we render it, so check this out. This is the part that I think is particularly cool. In our board renderer, I actually don't have an if statement saying if we're dragging something anymore. Instead, I have this for each loop. I have this for each says, for each dragged figure, draw the element. Remember how I said an optional is like a list that contains 0 or 1 item in it. So the optional, you can think of it as a list that has 0 or 1 things. So we can do the for each on it rather than doing an if statement to check, and then we pull the target out this way. So I think this is pretty cool. I like it. Maybe it is a little bit too silly, too over the top in C#, but it allows us to sort of do these really interesting chained calls to eventually do what we want. This invoke is a non-functional thing. At the end of the day, it says, well, we need to do something with this value. We need to do something with this value. And so eventually I want to unwrap it and do a thing. And this invoke actually says, if I happen to be a thing, do it. Otherwise, do nothing. So I'm not sure how people feel about this. I like it. It might be a little bit overkill, but I'm thinking about refactoring. So here's the thing. I wrote my own optional. And I'm not sure I like it. I actually really like the way it works. That said, there's an existing optional, it's a little bit dated, optional C#. There's this package, optional C# NuGet package that I might want to transfer it to use, which has a lot more functionality than the one I'm using. It's more robust. It's a little bit old. You'll notice 7 years old since the last update. So it's a little bit older than what I'm doing, but this is before nullable types was part of C#, before you could add the question mark to say this thing can be nullable. So the compiler wouldn't stop you. But there's a lot of niceties with this one, which I think I want to take and do a refactor with. Additionally, I kind of am thinking for all of my things where I have my, let's go to my figure type. I no longer would need this no figure. I could just make my board, when you examine it, it returns an option figure. It says, oh, well, sometimes there's a figure here and sometimes there's not. And then your code, you wouldn't have to have an if statement to check. You just apply it as an optional mode net, say, oh, well, pull this thing out and then invoke it on this other type. So to me, the code feels more clear, but it might be just because I'm familiar with the option. I don't see me using optional in the future. Gotcha. So the question sort of becomes like, what solution should I pick here? Do I want to go down this path with the optional monad or not? Optional type? Oh, the bean water. I've got some Earl Grey water right now. Got to figure out what that command would do. Is it make me drink bean water? I got to be careful on my caffeine intake. Yeah, so the question is, do people like this here? If you're into Link, I feel like this is a nice solution. The names would need to be select, right? So imagine this is select mini, and then a for each. This is sort of what this would do here. Yeah, it's an IEnumerable, and that's sort of how it is in that other option package. All right. So this would be I think the C# way to do it. Select many for each, like this. Because this follows more along the link pattern. And I originally did this, but then it conflicted with the IEnumerable, and select would actually turn it into an IEnumerable. Yes, ma'am, I think it's the naming. So this is why I think if I use the option library, right? If I use the option library, their version is compatible. So they've written the extension. So I think what I want to do is see how I feel about it using this extension, right? So they have their optional extensions here, and I think they've done it so that it's compatible with link. Let's go find their link stuff. Yeah. So their link extensions make it so if you do a select and it knows it's an option, it'll choose the option version. So I would ask the question, if we wrote it this way, would it feel better? Would it feel better to you if it was written this way, Smab? But yeah, I think the naming is hard for most people. It's sort of the hardest parts with link for me, is I'm always going to, well, what's flat map? Oh, it's select many. What is fold left? What is fold right? It's aggregate. They have different aggregates for it, and then it's based on your input arguments. I think I like the option type. That said, it doesn't necessarily read as code that most C# programmers would read and understand well. But it helps us remove the nestings and have these chain calls like this. Yeah, I think this is a bit better. It's a different way to wrap your mind around it too, right? The select many, I don't think a lot of people end up using this, but select many allows us to transform it on another optional type inside. The one thing I really liked about it was in my board render. This is one thing I really liked about it. This being able to use the for each rather than an if, just saying like, well, if there's a thing here, go ahead and do it. Go ahead and do it. And there's a potential like maybe somehow we have multiple drag figures. You have several things selected and you're dragging them. Now this code doesn't have to change. It just becomes, where's this coming from? Where's dragged figures? Now it can be dragged figures that it's coming from, and we're going to enumerate over that. So I think renaming it to this would be do. For each else, so for each, and then if it's a none, do something else. I don't think we can do a for each else. I think that's what you're asking, Snapple. Is that what you're asking? But I think this might look better to C# programmers. This would be a select. This would be a for each, like this. So I think I want to try a refactor here for that. To use the optional type that is provided here. There is also, and I was looking at this repository, and some people have said basically, what is a good alternative? So it's like, what is a good alternative? Since it hasn't been updated, and it's sort of like, well, most people are just using nullable types now. It's not quite perfect. That said, there's some async stuff that is, again, these have like async optionals, which apparently is pretty nice. I was thinking we might use optional 2. So someone here has an optional 2 type, which is more recent updates to it. More recent updates to it to add in some niceties around it. So I think we might use this. So swap it out, this option type with my optional type, and see how we feel about it. I like this idea. That said, we're out of time. So I wanted to talk about the option monad, get some people's opinions on it. I'm super excited about this idea. I like this. I personally like this syntax. Anytime, so something that's interesting, and people disagree with me on this. I like to say, if anytime you're writing an if statement, you're probably doing something wrong. That's not true, though. It's not true. But fewer if statements is better. You reduce the complexity of your code removing if statements. Snabble says, I think Ruby has something like that. I think, and this is specific for database, Active Record has stuff like this for doing queries and database stuff. So Active Record in Ruby is nice. Killed in it. I have ifs for miles. Yeah. Ifs are a point of failure. You know, that said, selects and stuff can be a point of failure, but they're more descriptive in what they're doing, in my opinion. The intention is more explicit here. Rivanov, I like to thank you, my friend, for following. Rivanov, welcome aboard. I like to be able to read my code. Can we not read this code? What's wrong with this code? Is it not readable? What's not readable? The select mini, I think, is the part that is tricky for some people. For people who haven't used it, I shouldn't say some people, it comes down to a functional style versus a procedural style, or an imperative style. I should say imperative style. So it's all about data transformation. I have no idea what any of that means. Yeah. So this is saying, so this is what we're talking about, the option monad. Yeah, Kilted. This is the code that it sort of eliminated my if statements here, right? So I have no if statements because I'm doing this thing. It says, if I have a figure, we're going to see if we can add it to the board. If we don't add it to the board, keep it. Keep this figure around. And then we're going to say, okay, with that figure that we kept around, transform it into a positioned figure. All right. Original position may or may not exist. All right. So if it doesn't exist, this becomes a none. And then I say, if at the end of the day I still have a thing to put onto the map, I draw it onto the map here. So I've turned them into this higher order function. It's this higher order thing that if you understand how select works, you don't have that point of failure. But you aren't checking for it. No, this is the check. That's what I'm saying. This is more expressive on my intent of what I'm doing with that if. Right? So it's more expressive on how I'm transforming the data. Right? So it's expressive on the transformation. Yeah, so the idea here is you can say, okay, well, at the end of the day, I need to add a figure to the board. Okay, at the end of the day, I'm adding a figure to the board. How do I transform my figure to get to that place? That's the idea here. So we are talking about as a high level. I want to write as few if statements as I can and have my intent be. That said, maybe we like the other solution better. Let's go back to the other solution. Let's go back to our last solution. Let's reload this. Oh, this isn't the... Oh, hang on. It's because it's on this other branch. Blazor component restructure. So before it was this. And maybe I should put a thing in here so we can compare the two. So that's where like select, it's like coming, this is where I think a lot of people get scared of the selects, get scared of using link, is those are just about data transformation. Yeah, so to me, this is less readable. This is more cognitive overload in my mind. But it comes down to like, what do most people think? So this would be, I think, more traditional C# code. Yeah, it's the concept of I'm transforming my data. I'm transforming my data to do these different things. Okay. So here, so exactly, it's thinking about imperative versus functional. Functional tries to not have side effects where it's sort of like a transformation. Imperative says, do this thing, then do this thing, then do this thing. Functional is sort of saying, how is my data transformed? How do I select? How do I transfer my data and then apply it there at the end? So it's essentially these nested ifs as if I'm selected, if selected is not null, all right, and I am not, and I try to add this. So the one thing I don't like is necessarily that there's like a side effect here, but it says if I go to add and I didn't add it, then we could also add sort of a thing here. It could be multiple ands in here. So this could actually be up here as another and, like this if we wanted. So these two, the two things are functionally equivalent. Okay. Okay, so like in this one, it says this and this and this. What if I have more conditions? I keep adding more and more conditions. Right, so right now that like it was a sign of maybe some complexity of like transforming. There's only 3 conditions here. Right, and at each step you have like this thing that can fail. The option monad, and a lot of times you could have something called an error monad. Just basically says, oh, well, let me just write the code in the, like at the end of the day, this is the thing I want to do. At the end of the day, I want to add something to the board, right? And so I want to think about how is the data transformed to add that thing to the board. And this isn't quite an equivalence because we've modified selected in the new version actually isn't a positioned figure. So this is the thing. Sometimes we selected something that isn't a positioned figure. You don't like, you would prefer this, Smab? Is this what you're referring to? It is 2 different tests, right? Yeah, it has side effects. Yeah, there's a side effect here of doing this. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I actually like it or not. I wanted to talk about it. I wanted to air it out and say like, oh, I was kind of excited about this idea. We could use it. I don't know that it's a particularly C# way to do things, right? There isn't an option type built in. It's a functional way to do things, a functional way to think about it. Excited, we got to get that dopamine. That's right, Oryx.
Oh, I got that fix.
That said, basically, I don't, hang on, position. I don't like this. I don't like that there's a no position and we have a special magic value here. Exactly, Kilted. There's this overhead. It's like if I start talking about a data structure, it's like, okay, well, were you going to use the facade pattern here? Like, it sounds like if you don't know how the facade pattern works, it's over your head. It's like, oh, now there's this extra cognitive load. And so that's why I'm saying I'm not sure it is the correct thing to use here. I'm looking back at my own code, though, and going like, I don't think I like this. I don't think I like this. No figure info. It's like every time I want to do something where I might have something, I have to introduce this thing called a no position. I have to introduce a thing called a no figure. I have to introduce a thing called a no, right? Does that, I've done this 3 times now. It's telling me there's a problem. Or it's a code smell to me. I'm repeating myself doing this no thing. In my mind, it makes sense to create an option. Exactly. Smab, so I'm not saying that you've done anything wrong. I'm realizing that when you did that, I go like, oh, I kind of dislike this thing of having this no figure. So it's okay to look at the code and be like, well, I've done something incorrect. I actually really, Smab, I want you to know that I absolutely appreciate your feedback. I love the change you made in your pull request here. this is just a code smell to me. Add code comments. Exactly, Smab. There's many ways to solve this. We could just switch it to a question mark, a nullable. I'm just I don't like nulls. They muddy up my code, in my opinion. But essentially, we're doing a nullable here, right? Oryx, what would I comment here? What comment would you suggest I add? I'm in the camp of comments. For documentation are good, but inline comments are bad. I'm in like the inline comments are bad. Public things that are part of interfaces and stuff are good. That's just my opinion. And we're sort of like in this anomalous space here, trying to figure out what we're doing, and designing this thing, and probably spending too much time. I don't know most of what I write. That's okay. That's okay. All right. So I think I'm going to play around with seeing if I can convert it all to the option. I'm going to do a refactor. I know we're moving at a glacial space on this project. If I convert everything into an option, I'm going to see how I feel about it. That said, we're going to wrap up the stream here. We're going to find someone to raid. Open to some suggestions if we want to look at it. He's very, very grateful for your contribution, Smab. Seriously, I hope I'm not coming across as like saying, oh, Smab did this thing that was terrible. No, I did this thing. I did this pattern that was terrible and you followed it. That's really what's happening here. And I'm trying to rectify that decision, saying like, I don't like this decision. I kind of dislike this decision. Okay, I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't coming across that way. Two nerdy nerds. We haven't rated Beegs in a while. Let's go raid Beegs. Nah1H2. Thank you so much for the follow. Nah1H2. Thank you for following me today. All right, folks. A little bit of promotion here. Don't forget to join the Discord. Keep up with what we're doing. See how long Beegs has been going. 5 hours. Might be wrapping up here with Beegs stream. I'm not sure. Let's look at Two Nerdy Nerds. They just started stream. We're gonna raid Two Nerdy Nerds. I feel bad. We haven't raided Beegs in a while. No, we gotta raid Beegs. We haven't raided Beegs in a while. We're gonna raid Beegs. Be sure to hang out with us on the Discord. Distron, it happens. I made no progress today, but we had fun doing it. We're gonna raid Beegs, folks. When we get there, give them some love. Happy Saturday. Show us what you're working on. Twitch. Raid like that. All right, copy pasta that chat there. When we get there, give them some love, folks. Yeah, have a beautiful day, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out. One other thing I want to promote here, Mechanically Challenged. We did wrap that up today. Congratulations to Sigian and Mars9T. We're going to be sending out some points, the cash money, win that cash money price. Be sure to go check out Slopes and Loops coming up next month, or this month. That's what we're working on. So we'll be showing that off the first weekend in June, I believe, if I have time. So be sure to get that. You can win $50 as well, just for submitting it. I'd love to see your solutions. Slopes and Loops, inspired by Sonic. Okay. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thank you, Kilted, folks. Copy, paste that raid message. We're going to go hang out with Beegs. Have a beautiful day. Keep coding. Keep growing. Keep being the best you can be. You're welcome back anytime. We'll be back on Monday. Bye.